Hi, my name is Becca and I'm studying a BSc in esports production. I'm working with the Newell for this year's Amazon University Esports Varsity Finals. My role for this production is audio engineer and also observer 2 for League of Legends. The experience has been really enjoyable. I've had the ability to work with all different amazing talent throughout the week.
Hi, my name is Rory Singer. I'm studying BSc Esports Production. I'm working with the Newell for this year's Amazon Esports University Finals. My role for this production is replay operator. The experience has been informative, educational, and I've learned a lot which I'll be able to use on other productions. So far, I've amassed over 192 hours of esports broadcast this year. I've recently worked on Echo's world first production out in Hamburg, Blizzard's AWC and MDI programs, and of course, Newell.
Hi, my name is Morgan and I'm studying BSc Live and Technical Events. I'm working with Newell for this year's Amazon University Esports Varsity Finals. My role for this production is lighting and video engineer. The experience itself has been very interesting and very new compared to what I normally do. I'm working towards specialising as a lighting and video engineer for live production. So far, I've amassed roughly 30 hours in esports production this year. I have recently worked on Industry Week 2022 at Confetti as a lighting engineer.
Hi, my name's Alex and I'm studying BSc Esports Production here at Confetti. My role for this production, I've been switching between a graphics operator and a technical director. So far the experience has been really good for consolidating all of the learning we've done here at Confetti and in my time working as a freelance on the side. So far this year I've worked on 55 unique esports productions since December, and that's thanks to the connections here at Confetti. Alongside my studies here at Confetti, I work as a freelance esports producer, and I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to work on this year's Blast Spring qualifiers for 2022.
Welcome average league enjoyers, hard-stuck one-tricks and cracked gamers to Newell Spring 2022 League of Legends Finals. We're going to be seeing Imperial and the MU taking each other on toe-to-toe, head-to-head for that championship title and that fully paid expense trip to the LEC studio. I'm Janiro, your host for today, and joining me are the incredible summoners themselves, Luxer and Kaksha. How are you guys feeling today?
Good, really excited to get into this game. I mean, unfortunately, we have already seen, one game from each of these two, but it means that we're just left at a best of 3, and I'm really excited to see who can actually come out on top.
Yeah, and honestly, I did not expect these two teams to be seeing them in the finals, but I am happy they are here because the games so far have been a bit of a banger.
Yeah, we know you guys didn't actually see it, but don't you worry, we got you guys sorted. We got a couple of replays to be coming through. First game was taken by Imperial, second one by DMU, so let's do the first game replays coming through where DMU starting off on a strong foot and then they didn't.
Yeah, it was not ideal out of them. The beginning stages for DMU was fantastic. They ended up finding themselves a lot of success down in the bottom lane, and then it kind of crumbled.
Yeah, this is game 2.
Yeah, this is game 2 that we're seeing now instead, and that's actually the game that DMU did end up winning. So let's talk through that one.
Yeah, they did end up winning this one through the bot lane. It is a little bit of a coin flip in the bot lane right now. Soxu is getting themselves ahead. You can see in this fight does manage to pick up some kills. More of the kills really going over to Sam J. You'll see throughout all of these fights from game 2 that really it was all on the shoulders of Soxu.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, on the shoulder of Soxu, but on the shoulders of some very questionable fights in terms of how clean they were, because this entire game was a fiesta, and I feel like those replays sell it just perfectly well.
Yeah, indeed. Every single fight ended up as a complete bloodbath with all the health bars very low. In the end, people end up just about surviving, just about going down. You can see there Astronaut managing to pick up a kill across the wall, then gets jumped on. This was the name of the game, 1 for 1. This right here was a lovely fight, though, out of Imperial Apes.
Yeah, it looks like that bot lane pressure that we were talking about early on really paid off for DMU this time specifically. They were able to get a lot of objectives as well, and Game 2 in general, you know, Kachka, would you say that DMU kind of showed more of what they're capable of this game, or do you think there's more to come from them?
I think definitely you can clean this up.
Okay.
This is the most obvious point I will say, but I like this approach more than the game one. You have Samji and a carry Spirit on that Malphite was able to buy so much time, and you know, eventually they did manage to get to a win. The Dragon control, that's great. I want to see more of that because they've been getting most of the dragons in this series so far.
Yeah, it really is the Dragon control that was managing to keep them moving through if they were DMU, managing to find themselves the little bit of pressure on the map that was allowing them to snowball. Picking up that Ocean Soul was instrumental in the win going over to DMU in this game. Unfortunately, if you are Imperial, they ended up just constantly finding good plays and then overextending. The same thing DMU was doing, and in the end, it ended up hurting them worse than it hurt DMU.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we saw glimpses of in Game 1, where DMU started off incredibly strong. If we could get some Game 1 replays, that would be absolutely incredible to kind of highlight the points that we're going to be talking about right now. They had a really good, strong early game coming through from DMU. They won a 2v2 in the bot lane level 1. They were able to get 3 Drakes before Imperial even got their hands on one, but then something just didn't quite click, and Imperial just walked away with that win. And what do you think the main issue was there?
They shouldn't have won the bot lane in the first place, I think, is the initial issue coming out for DMU. They did not have the stronger bot lane. I mean, you shouldn't be winning your lane if you have... Oh, sorry. If you have the Kog'Maw, that was the one.
Yeah.
That's not a champion that wins out on lane. Instead, it did manage to pick themselves up 2v2 kills, and so should have been able to carry. But instead, Soxy was just flashing forwards when they really shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I feel like it was a problem of overextensions, but also, now after seeing the Xayah come out from Soxu, I kind of don't want to see the Kog'Maw again. Because yes, guys, you did hear me right, we did see a Kog'Maw in Game 1 come out from Soxu. Not at the end of the team fights. I'm gonna be honest, especially with 12.6, the nerfs to lifesteal items, you just don't have that same kind of safety.
Yeah, and there was no space gliding on the Rift either. I can assure you of that, because they actually ended up going for heal instead of the Ghost, so there wasn't a lot of kiting coming through. But one thing, however, that we can walk you through is going to be the replays for game number 1.
Yeah, we're going to jump in quite a way through, but you can see the fact that, I mean, this is a little bit of an unfortunate play out of Spirit going way too far forwards, does end up just about being taken down by Astronaut on this fight, and then it's a trade back. And you see a lot of this throughout this entire game. It is 1-for-1s all across the board.
Yeah, I feel like this is the fight. Yeah, I think this is the fight where Soxu just feels himself a bit too confident. You have a pick going the way of Imperial right now. I mean, you just give up the Dragon, right? There's no reason why you would go back here, but Soxu still believes he is super far ahead, and what he is about to do right now is, in my opinion, the point where DMU lost Game 1.
Yeah, this is kind of the burger flip where they tried to go for that smite, and you know, you say it yourself, this is that point where it flipped around for DMU. They weren't able to get that Drake, and if they did, it would have been absolutely incredible, because that would have been the soul secured.
Yeah. The soul would have been lovely, but also, as you are saying with this, because they did have the ability to just sit back and wait, they would have been in a much nicer spot to then go for the next Drake, instead going way too far forwards, getting taken out, and that was the fight, as we've said, that really turned it. They went too far forwards, they played with fire too much, and they got burned.
Yeah, we also, I think, kind of highlighted earlier on the overextension and just the over-aggression coming through from the AD carry, specifically when you're playing that Kog'Maw. You don't have that ability to get out of the team fights, your flash is already burned. But then we saw that they picked the Xayah, right, Gotcha? And do you think you'll be seeing more of that going into the next game, or are you really more than happy to see another Kog'Maw running it down?
Absolutely not. I think, in fact, there are two kind of priority picks that are solidifying themselves for the bot lane, Thresh and Xayah. And teams are quite happy to trade this. Usually, well, so far in this series, the blue side has taken the Thresh, the red side has responded with Xayah, and Xayah has 100% win rate. Now going into the game 3, I want to see how that priority kind of evolves. Do you maybe see the Xayah as more better pick? Go for the Thresh, or do you just throw it out and go for something else?
And also looking at the junglers specifically, we've seen the Hecarim, we've seen the Volibear come through. Most of the bans were Viego. There was a very heavy jungle ban, you know, like, you know how it is. Nobody wants to get people to get those strong junglers, but we've kind of seen the flip around with the Hecarim and the Volibear specifically for these teams. And going into game number 3, there has been a lot of things that the junglers have been able to do. They've been able to create the pressure, they've been able to get those objectives secured. Do you think that they have to step it up a notch in game 3, or are you saying that the team should be happy with how the junglers have been doing?
I don't think the junglers have done bad for themselves. We saw a lot of ganks coming out of Karma all across the map with the Lee Sin pickup in game 2, was constantly managing to find themselves those fights and those ganks. It was pretty impressive. I don't think that Karma has anything to be worried about. It's just unfortunate when you play Lee Sin that you are on a timer. If you don't get yourself that early lead, which unfortunately he didn't really quite manage to, then you're not able to do a lot. So it will be interesting to see if these junglers are going to be the same. I think they will be. What I really want to see is the Xayah big band.
Yeah, we're going to be going into picks and bans, and actually the first band's quite similar, again coming through from the AMU. The Nidalee, the Sivir, the Evelynn as well from Imperial, as well as the Karma. These are the exact same bands from the last 2 games. And Gacha, what are we saying? Because, you know, Blockster here saying he wants a Xayah band. We've seen them trade those picks. What's going on?
Well, the MUT1 are running back the bans. They're getting rid of the RA we seen in game 1, and Imperial Apes, they're just deciding it's not worth letting anything through here. That being said, Xayah, that's the shift in priority I was wondering if we're gonna see.
Yeah, this is what we said. I said ban it. If you're on the red side, you have to ban it instead. It's going to go through. It's just going to be the volley bear. Everybody just has picked their champions and deciding to run it back through. If it is the exact same bans as we saw before, I don't love it because we've seen that the Xayah's come out on top both times. You have to find some form of adaptation. That's adaptation. It was the Nautilus paired with the Xayah the previous time, so that is something different. Will it be the Thresh pickup on the other side? That's what we've seen before.
I mean, if it is, how are you going to lock down Soxu exactly? Please tell me, because I want to know.
Well, so far we've just been seeing a yoink and twist from both of these teams. There's like this one composition that both of these teams ran, and they're like, you know what, we'll trade you a champion, you'll give us one. It's like, you know, we're all more than happy to do so. The Veigar coming through once again. And do you think the impact that Veigar had specifically last game on that mid was enough coming through from DMU, or are you a little disappointed? Oh, the Thresh as well, yeah.
Do it. Oh.
Look
at it.
There we go. Okay.
We knew it was going to come through.
Yeah, I do want to go in with the Veigar. I think personally Samjay had more than enough impact. It was about that scaling. It was about clutching it in the late game. And yeah, the fights were messy. We all know that. But in that kind of environment, it pulled through.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible at all. I really liked it. The thing is, the Veigar is very good against a Volibear. Volibear wants to run straight at you. Veigar is fantastic against it. In the last game, we saw it paired together, which was terrifying to deal with. As soon as the Volibear gets on you, you end up caged. You can't move. But that is, as you said, that's a new pick finally. That's the Ashe. Ashe plus Volibear is a lot of slows, a lot of ability to just disrupt people, and giving the ability for Kenny to land those hooks.
Yeah, looks like finally these teams are showing us that they have a champion pool at least, not just a little kiddie puddle, because we've been seeing the exact same champions time and time again. That Ashe coming through from the bot lane, I think that the paired with the CC from the Nautilus specifically as well, I think that absolutely incredible. It's hopefully they're going to be able to get some cross-map picks, because we did see a TF coming through as well earlier. Do you think that might be something we can expect right now?
You need something that dives with Imperial Apes. I feel like that is my takeaway, because you've got a lot of crowd control. That's some great engage you've got. I don't know who's going to be bursting down the targets on the side of the MUT1, so I'm looking at a Vex maybe. I know that's what I'd like to see.
That works. It gives you a lot of follow-up, the ability to constantly go in whenever you land those shadows. If we take a quick look at the bans, we are seeing a lot of top lane focus coming out of DMU. They've taken away both the Fiora and the Gnar. That's a lot of power that they're taking out of the hands of Truman, and we've seen that Truman is willing to pick up those more aggressive picks. Didn't have the best time on the Fiora, but would be able to run it back, try something slightly different this time maybe.
Yeah, the Hecarim ban as well coming through, I think, again, one of those junglers that we've seen time and time again from these teams, and they just want to take it away from each other, because why not? It's been quite detrimental. It's had a lot of effects on those backline dives, and it's really paid out. Oh, we're actually seeing the Victor here, and, you know, Gotcha. What is this?
I think it tells us a lot about the priority of Imperial Apes. It's something I wanted to ask before the picking through. Do you leave the counter pick to Ashtramanen or to Truman? They leave it to Truman. They trust in their top laner, and they just want to put Astroman on something safe. And, well, if that's the way that the cookie crumbles, well then, Imperial Apes, let's see what you do with it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with the Victor pick. That we need to talk about, though. That is Olaf locked in. That Olaf could go into the jungle, could also go into the top lane. I'm expecting jungle is going to be the jungle pickup, so Hope is really laying down the gauntlet with that Olaf. Oh my god.
Yeah, we see the Cyan being hovered right now as well, and I'm wondering if this is going to be like that 1-4 comp or maybe the 1-3-1 coming through for these teams. Trundle also secured here, locked in and loaded, and they're ready to go. But kind of going back to that Cyan pick, Are you expecting some boss gameplay, or do you think that'll be a bit more calculated?
So, Spirit, he doesn't play lethality.
Okay.
But his Hullbreaker Scion is nasty. That one I'll give you for free. He has impressed me a lot. That being said, let's talk about the Trundle. It's a Trundle top lane and into a hyper tank.
It's a Trundle into exactly what you want a Trundle into. We said, I mean, you really highlighted it, giving Truman that counter pick, and they've managed to pull out what I'd say is a perfect counter to the Scion, managing to pull out that Trundle, who is going to be able to steal all of those advantages that, you know, Spirit would have had. And this means that the top lane is pretty much neutralized. Will the junglers have to get involved finally? For the minute, the junglers have both sort of crossed top lane off of their map. They are not interested in it. But with these compositions, that top lane could be a swing point for both of these teams.
Yeah, classic thing in, you know, League of Legends. Top lane is an island, you know, it's a little bit of a farm fiesta, you don't really want to get involved in it, and it's something actually you yourself, Bloxer, mentioned last game as well, where you said that where you would prefer these junglers to actually focus on those bot lanes, focus on those AD carries, get them ahead, because they have more of the ability to carry, considering that the first game, there was a heavy focus on that top lane. Fiora went 1-1-1, wasn't really able to do much, even though a lot of resources were committed. So do you think right now we're going to be seeing a flip of that, or do you think that it's still going to be heavy focus on bot lane?
It could well still be a heavy focus on bot lane, and if they do want to focus on bot lane, that gives the advantage over to Imperial, because they have got that counter pick, which is going to allow them to neutralize that top lane. There shouldn't need to be any jungle intervention, whereas if you are the side of Spirit, because you're getting pushed in, Hope may well have to go up there, and this leaves the bot lane more free for Imperial to not lose to a Soxu gap again.
Yeah, well, looking at the composition, however, coming through from DMU specifically, they are going with that Scion, they're going with the Olaf, they have the Thresh, the Veigar, they have that Xayah as well, something that they really, really wanted and heavily focused on. How do you think they're going to be playing out that mid to late game? Do you think they have to once again press the pedal to the metal in early?
Yes, they absolutely need to get the dragons. You're playing in Olaf, it's a simple story. You get the first 2 dragons. If you don't, it's kind of a failed pick. And also, again, Soxu has his hands on Xayah. You want to get ahead in the bot lane early on. So yes, they should be playing early, but I feel like late game Spirit and Samjay, they both are getting champions that they are comfortable with. Spirit, neutralizer, tank player, really solid on that. Samjay, control mage, we've seen him on the Veigar. So I really like what DMU have. They're still playing to all their strengths, and yeah, let's see what they will do.
Yeah, let's see what they will do. But we're currently 1-1 for both of these teams, so you know we can expect this to go all 5 games if we're being completely honest. And I think this is something that we in the green room said time and time again. But as we're going to be heading into game number 3, we're going to be seeing who's actually going to get the first advantage.
Yeah, and straight into game we go, and we're instantly going to say all of Imperial Apes stack up in this top lane. I don't know if they're going to go for the full invade. If they do, they're going to completely miss DMU, who've gone to the bot lane.
Yep, the team's missing each other, but we'll see what intel is had, because Imperial Apes are the ones who are actually sticking around. They're dropping their wards, they're going to get information about Hope's pathing, which Olaf likes to get low on his clear.
He really does. You can definitely punish out Hope if you want to. And I mean, of all the champions to do it, the Volibear is a very good one to do so. Especially because they've waited in this bush. But there are multiple members of DMU sneaking through. Oh no, it's like ships passing in the night.
Yeah, what are you trying to do, DMU here? Didal is going to be dropped down bot lane good, because you don't want to be missing out on too much of the XP. They're both evading each other on the same side of the map.
And nobody has noticed, I think is the most important point. Nobody knows what's going on. No deep vision was dropped. Everybody knows that something funky's going on, but nobody's quite sure what for the minute. And yeah, I mean, this is a pretty nice way to start if you are the Volibear, because you don't get so low on your clears as the Olaf does. If you guys end up meeting, trying to swap back into your own jungles, then the Volibear has a massive advantage, especially at level 2.
And especially, let's look at the top lane priority, because if Truman can roam down, Trundle is a massive early game skirmisher, so that is probably going to be enough of a swing factor in itself. But both junglers continuing to take each other's jungles. This is not even vertical jungling. What do we even call this one?
Opposite jungling? Confused jungling. Yeah. I'm confused right now. Well, I'm not confused. I know what they're doing. It's just the fact that nobody has noticed. I think Karma is a bit caught out.
Yeah, and Samjay has the priority to come down from the middle lane as the blast comes over the wall, and Hope is going to run him down. The Olaf has so much early game damage with those undertows, and first blood is going to be picked up by Hope.
If you are the Volibear, you do win out on those early game skirmishes, but you have to land all of your abilities and not also have the mid laner on top of you. And in the end, although the jungling was a little bit odd, Hope comes out on top and puts DMU in a nice spot during the early game. The Olaf getting ahead is everything you need. We talk a lot about early game champions, and Olaf is a quintessential early game champion. You have got to find that advantage, or you are useless coming into the mid game.
Not only that, but Hope is the quintessential player for DMU T1. He is the one by whom the team lives and dies.
Absolutely.
So getting ahead on specifically Hope is already good fortune for DMU.
Yeah, it is very nice for Hope to have got themselves ahead, and it's unfortunate for Karma, who thought that the, vertical but not quite jungling was going quite well. Instead gets taken out, and that puts them quite far behind in terms of tempo. Currently, they have most of their bot side camps to clear, whereas the Olaf is already down here getting to pick up a Scuttle Crab. And Hope now has access to this bottom lane if they want to try something down there, or to this mid lane, and for the minute, everything is turning up for DMU.
Yep, priority for Soxu and Didal. That means that Didal can escort Hope straight into the jungle. That is going to be the blue buff taken as well. And yeah, the Hawkshot is maybe going to spot them out. Not even sure if that happened. DMU T1 kind of taking everything they want, but it has been a series of overextensions. So let's see if they will get out in time. Yes, they will.
Anytime that DMU goes far forwards, I expect them to get caught out.
Yep.
So I'm always holding my breath. But the minute it seems to be okay, they have been pulling out at the correct time for the minute. I mean, it is Imperial who have gone too far forwards. Still, though, everything is even at the moment. There's a slight advantage for DMU, but it is not big enough to really change the course of the game for the minute. It's about what they do with this priority if you are DMU. Imperial have the ability to fight back.
Oh, great hook connecting onto Soxu. Kenny manages to curve this one around, and Soxu without the flash, Karma looking for the stun, won't be able to get it, and that is the kill into the AD carry of DMU. Hope is around. Let's see if DMU keep going. Didal, flash play, connects onto 2. There's the teleport coming in from Astroman as well. Soundja's down in the ball lane with the Predator already, and Didal is so low, the supports are being traded, but the mid laners are here right now, and Karma on the front side, he is going to be forced away as Lucky dishing out the damage onto Hope, and Imperial Apes, good response.
Yeah, that was what we wanted to see out of them, managing to find a flash forwards into a hook out of Kenny, picking themselves up a kill. Soxu was dead very quickly, and Soxu is the player that you want to get behind. During both of the previous games, it was Soxu who was the main carry for DMU. So if you're able to put them far behind, they won't be able to do what they did in the previous 2 games. In the previous game specifically, on the same champion, was able to fully carry the team. And so right now, the fact that they have not had a good time of it means that they're quite far behind, not going to be able to scale into this mid game quite so effectively.
Yeah, and well, it remains to be seen what is next here on the menu for both of these teams, and specifically junglers is what I'm looking at. They have been, again, the main enablers. That's what I'm looking for any sort of action, but Soxu still doesn't have the flash. The hook doesn't catch him out of the lantern.
Everybody is going to manage to walk away from this one for the minute. Soxu playing on the edge of danger, I mean, as he likes to do so. The mid lane right now is pretty even, and I think the Sanjay is more useful during the early game, but obviously Astronan on this Victor is going to scale far better into the late game.
Dragon was started by Imperial Apes. Unfortunately, they're not DMU T1. They don't get to have free first Dragon of the game, as DMU will swoop in and reclaim the rightful prize. 3rd game of the day, they take the first Dragon.
This has been massive priority for DMU. All of the Dragons, the first one, the second one, and the third one, I think, have all gone in their favor. They have themselves a massive monopoly on it, and it gives them a lot of pressure. I mean, in games like this, where maybe everybody's not playing their mechanical best, just having a few extra stats on every single ability that you do can be the swing factor. I mean, it shouldn't be at this level, but it can be, certainly.
Absolutely, and I mean, Hope is definitely doing very well in the jungle if we take a look at all the other lanes. Top lane, pretty much going as expected. I'd say pretty good for Spirit. And bot lane, interestingly, Lucky able to keep ahead in CS compared to Soxu.
Indeed, we were not expecting that particularly. Lucky, has had a bad time of it in the bottom lane, if we speak candidly. But pulling out an entirely different champion, now going to be onto the Ashe. The Ashe is not particularly meta right now, but can do a lot. It's mainly the utility that Ashe provides, especially when paired up with something like the Volibear. You have enough damage on the rest of your team that all you need is more utility to keep them stunned. If somebody ends up stunned up in the Victor ult, that's a dead player.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out that there are no cleanses, and mostly on Samjay is the person I would have been looking at. And yeah, if you manage to get someone out with CC, not too much in terms of stopping that. That being said, Truman popping the Ghost, and Imperial Labes are taking over the topside jungle. Truman getting on, and Samjay just tapers him down with the ult. And now the Ragnarok away. Hope will be able to run under the tower. Well then, it's another overextend.
It is. Why was Truman that far forwards? Why is Kenny that far forwards? Again, out of Imperial, multiple players stepping way too far forwards. It's exposing them to being picked off, and in return, they're going to get themselves a Herald, which is nice, sure, but I'm just confused as to why they're pushing so far forwards. They are not in a position where the onus is on them to get the early game fights going. Actually, DMU is the ones who need the early game advantage, and yet it's Imperial walking too far forwards into the jungle where they had no right to be that's giving them that advantage.
And Samjay is getting 2 of those kills.
Yeah.
We have seen what he can do in those late game teamfights, and getting a Vigor to scale quicker is a very dangerous prospect.
It really is. You do not want the Vigor anywhere further forwards than he already will be, simply by being a Vigor. Infinite scaling on this champion, always going to be getting AP off of those Qs, and so eventually you cannot deal with it. And you have very squishy members on the side of Imperial. The Victor can get destroyed in one shot, the Ashe too.
Very important point. We have seen the lethality Xayah both games.
Yes.
It is the crit Xayah.
It's not lethality, yeah. It's a different build path coming out of Soxu. Clearly the lethality was working, but I can understand it. When you're up against a Toronto who's going to have nicked a lot of stats off of Sion, the tankiness and healing that comes out of a Volley Bear, as well as just a big tanky frontliner that is Nautilus, you want to be able to get through them quicker, and the lethality build wouldn't be doing that. It's not Soxu's job this game to blow up the Victor or the Ashe. That is very much on Samjay's shoulders, and so going the lethality build would have really limited them in being useful for the team as a whole.
So then the follow-up question is, should we reevaluate how we look at the scaling for both of these teams? Because now it feels to me like DMU are perfectly happy being the scaling team, and it is in fact Imperial that will need to be the ones going for the plays.
Yeah, when it's the lethality build, you want to scale quicker. You want to be getting your kills, getting your advantages as fast as you can, simply because it falls off a lot harder as people get more healing, get more shielding, and everything like that. Whereas now, because of this new build path, it is going to be, you know, a lot less pressure on Soxu's shoulders to get far ahead in the early game, like you said. Yeah, I think DMU's happy to go late. I still think that Imperial is also happy to go late, though. So now, there's neither of these teams needing to find themselves early advantages, and everybody can be more than happy to sit back and not try to fight immediately.
Well, the Dragon is up in a minute, and you can see Kenny walking up with Karma. They're going to be dropping some vision and potentially paying a visit over to Samjay, who does have the Flash, does have the Everfrost, and also is doing a pretty good job of clearing the wave. That's the arrow going away, and Karma has got the ultimate going for the Flash stun, not even gonna use it. There is the dunk shut down over to Astroman.
And that's how you execute a dive. Beautiful from everybody. Very few turret shots even taken by a single member right there. That's the power of the Volley Bear. Using that ultimate to shut down a tower really allows you to pull off those, you know, dives that would otherwise be quite risky. A possible engage here. I don't think Dido wants this now, but hopes here it's more likely that they'll go for it.
The Dragon definitely is in sight. You want that second one if you're Olaf, let's not forget. And DMU T1 starting to set up the vision. Samjay is back up, doesn't have the teleport, will need to walk all the way back to this fight. Have a Spirit, is in a position, looking for the onslaught of shadows, and that is just gonna go wide.
Yes, Spirit with the Unstoppable Onslaught doing very little right there, actually. Gonna manage to move themselves into the Drake quicker, so that's useful.
Dragon, what is this all? Okay, it's Hextech. It's one of the big ones yet again.
That is really exciting. It means that these teams are genuinely going to be fighting around it. If you end up with a Cloud Drake, I mean, teams still want it. It's a soul. It's nice. It's extra stats. It's good, but it's not great. It's not very exciting. If it's Infernal, Hextech, or sometimes even Ocean, teams actually fight around them, and because we do have this Hextech, there is the possibility for even more fights.
Yeah, but our bot support's getting extremely low as they are all to die, and the stopwages are being blown. Hope goes on a killing spree, and Lucky just attempting to run away. Kite back actually doing good damage onto Soxu, but the first storm is coming out, forces the flash from the ADC of Imperial. Okay, Soxu, I guess you just kill him.
Oh, Lucky stepping forwards, thinking that he was not in any more danger. Soxu, watching those feathers, pulls them back and picks up a highlight-worthy kill right there. That was beautiful. Just, it looked like it was done. The play looked like it was over, and yet absolutely not. Soxu is out for blood, even when it looks like he can't get any.
Yeah, but we are going to go into a pause for a quick moment. And so, we just saw that kill. That's great. More gold over to DMU21. But the big point that I do want to touch on is we mentioned it's the hack stack and how good that is for the team. But it also means that the Olaf actually paid off.
Indeed. We were not sure if the Olaf was going to find themselves those advantages in the early game. Instead, they managed to quite nicely, actually. It was fantastic plays around the early game coming out of hope. We had to see it. The Olaf was off so horribly if you end up falling behind. It did not fall behind, though.
No, it's, you know, great early game plan executed by DMT1. They are 2,000 gold ahead. Now, we've seen the rest of the series. The viewers might be unfamiliar, so just to let you guys know, these teams, they don't know what clean League of Legends is.
Absolutely not. If you look at an individual player, what they are doing is nice. It's quite mechanically clean. You know, the micro is there. The macro, however, is not. People have been throwing around Barons and Dragons this entire series. It's been, abysmal? Abysmal might be the correct word.
To be fair, this game, 9 kills in 30 minutes, surprisingly quiet.
Yeah, actually much cleaner, and so that might be indicative of cleaner fights around the actual Drakes as well. That being said, Soxu,
he's gonna flash towards the tower away from his support, because why the hell? Not gonna get knocked up, and Lucky will be able to take him down. Karma taking turret shots, and SamJ is around now. Astroman dropping down the Chaos Storm. Didal will be able to flash away from the arrow, and SamJ eating up a lot of card control, almost breaking out Kenny, but almost is not enough, and Astroman will be able to take him down as the hook onto Lucky, and Didal gets one back, but Imperial coming away with a 2-for-1.
it's a very nice little play here. They're going to pick themselves up some turret plates in the bottom lane as well. Didal needs to be careful. Absolutely playing with fire, feeling himself on this Thresh pick, been playing it quite nicely. Unfortunately, Soxu is not having a good time. Soxu was allowed to reign free during Game 1 and Game 2, and Imperial say no more. We are going to shut down the main carry of this team, and it's the correct decision. If you are Imperial, you have got to stop Soxu from being able to run rampant. So far, they've been able to do so. Unfortunately, though, Hope is really far ahead, not the main carry of the team usually, you know, is the person that is the linchpin, but is not the person with all the kills. This time, has all the kills on their back. Do you think they're going to be able to snowball that into a win for the team?
Well, you hope so if you're a fan of DMU. You've got the Gold Drinker and Mythics completely on basically all of the members of DMU T1, so I just want to see them go for more plays. I do believe the Herald is up. Why not try and do that? Both of the mid lane tier 1s are still on the map.
Yeah, there's very little actual pressure being put down onto turrets. Some in the top lane finally. I think Truman should be able to catch this wave though, and although Cyan is a fantastic pusher, is pretty neutralized by the Trundle as we said before. Everybody's very interested in Dragons this game, not so interested in Heralds, despite the fact that, yeah, there's a lot of outer turrets and that's a lot of standing gold available.
Yeah, I do want to just put a caveat in that. Never mind, I guess we have a fight in the bot lane. We'll wait with the caveat for later, as Hope goes on a killing spree and SamJ takes down Karma. It's just a wash over by DMU in the river.
A lovely little fight right here. DMU going to find themselves a way back into this game. They are still 2k ahead, and because the Drake is spawning in about 1 minute, setting up all of the vision is what they're going to want to do in order to take the Drake a little bit cleaner. Everything's been a little bit cleaner out of DMU this game, and so if they can continue to do that, they will be able to squeeze out Imperial possibly, but they have got to keep going, because although there is nice scaling on Soxu, sure, and on SamJ, actually even on Spirit, I don't like the scaling on Hope. The later this goes, the more and more this poor Olaf is going to struggle.
That is of course true, but for now DMU21 not going to be too worried about that. The turret is taken, extend the goal lead, the arrow goes wide. And I mean, if you're DMU21, right, before we went into the series, we did not really expect them to be, well, the favorites to be frank, and well, SamJ is going to get rounded up by Karma. I guess I don't get to talk about anything else other than the action going on the screen as Karma going to get hooked right back in, and SamJ trying to get away, but Soxu will be able to take them down, and Teleport is being channeled in by Truman into the middle of the fray. Stand up by the cake, that is so much damage, and Lucky is dead, as you said, with Hope going unstoppable. Double kill picked up by Soxu before being taken down, and double kill being traded as well. And Hope looks for the triple. Astroman will be able to find the stand as the flash over the wall. SamJ looking for the damage as a stopwatch blown, and that will be triple kill. kill and the ace for DMU.
DMU, a lovely fight right here, managing to play it on all fronts. It was so split. The teleport coming in out of Truman was way too late into the middle, and the fight was just all across the map. It was indeed. Spirit was nowhere nearby, picking up a tower as well. DMU are having their cake and eating it too.
Well then, screw our pre-game expectations. DMU T1 have indeed shown up to play. We wanted to see them win a game first. They did in game 2. We wanted to see them play cleaner. Well, this is cleaner. They are 5,000 goal ahead by 17 minutes.
It really is so much better, and I was worried for Hope during these team fights. Olaf is pretty good at team fights if he's able to get resets and keep himself healed up, but you have to be quite far ahead. I'd say 7-0-4, obviously coming into this game, 5-0-2, so not quite so far ahead, but still very far ahead. Very strong, quite obviously, and was able to get onto the backline and take Lucky out. And because there was no AD carry damage being laid down, Astronaut was also being chased around the fight. There is not much damage on the rest of the composition.
Not at all. I mean, Lucky going for the shield bow build on Ashe, which is the defensive build. I know in my solo queue games I like to run a shield bow, wits, and death stance. You don't die. You also don't really do damage.
No, and if Astronaut was massively far ahead, they would be able to pick up the slack, but they're not. They're doing well for themselves, sure, but not far enough ahead that they can have the sole responsibility of doing damage on the team, especially not when the top lane is not particularly aggressive, jungler's not particularly aggressive. All of the builds are quite defensive, and so you have got to be able to put some damage down.
Arrow. Oh, that is going to nail Samj, and that's about 3 seconds of a stun extended, and Karma just takes the opportunity and says thank you very much for the kill.
We were just questioning Lucky, and wow, they put themselves back on the map with a beautiful Ashe arrow. Landing that, getting Samj gone, means that they should be able to pick up this bot lane tower for themselves as well. Really opens things up across the map. It could be traded, however, if Truman does want to go in onto this Herald.
Truman will just back off, courtesy of the Hex Gates. Pretty good for getting out of sticky situations. Now, I do want to just take stock of the items, because we have 2 items completed for Samj and for Hope. This is pretty huge if you ask me. Death Cap Everfrost at sub 20 minutes on the Vigar. You're feeling good.
That is a lot of damage that's going to be put down by Samj. It just depends on if they're able to survive this. They keep getting caught up by Ashe arrows. There's not a lot that they can do. We've seen that the cage is not that effective when there is everybody piling on top of you, but it can be good. Truman wants to run at you, Karma wants to run at you, and so it can work. It just has to be the correct angle. If Samj is having everybody run at him from the front, he'll be fine. It's when people are coming from all angles that all of a sudden he's sort of caught out and left to die.
Yeah, and Lucky is going to burn the flash. It is going to be just fine. The teleport also committed, so DMU with that nice little rotation getting 2 summoners out for the price of 1 ultimate, but we are going to have a fight. That's the hook, and Astro Man is dead already. Do Imperial even have any damage at this point? It's really the question I want to ask. Kenny and Karma definitely eating a lot of it, and Lucky able to throw down the volleys here and there, but now DMU taking the kill and backing up.
Everybody is going to back off finally, and the gold lead continues to extend for DMU. 5k up right now, up 3 Drake, and I think that this Drake problem is becoming a real issue for Imperial. They are constantly so far behind on Drakes that they're trying to play from behind tempo when it comes to being around the Dragon Pit. They have to fight for these. Whereas if you're DMU, although they don't want to, Spirit might be caught out.
That might just happen. Howard Idol is on his way. That is the flash over the wall, and Soxu is there as well to dish out supporting damage. That look was very close from Kenny, and they trade the flash. No, that was just the blast one. It's just the flash from Spirit, so, you know, not great. You're gonna take it though. It's not the end of the world.
It is a positive play, at least, if you are Imperial.
Oh, no. Yeah, but it's gonna end there, unfortunately.
Yeah, positive until that point when Lucky ends up getting absolutely bursted down. Had gone for something different. The Ashe had not been a pick we'd seen or particularly expected, but all of the picks that we had been expecting throughout the game had either been banned or, you know, had not been piloted very well, so I pulled out something different. Baron down to half health. Karma is alive.
I mean, we've seen Baron flip so far. This time Karma, no flash, no ultimate to get into the pit, only the blast going, and look at his health bar. He is so low already. The Baron down to 4,000, and Imperial, They want to keep themselves alive. That is the targeting in the ball lane, and the hook connects. And that is the jungler of Imperial Apes. No more. Only Kenny behind the pit. He's going to take the blast gun to safety. The Baron has been taken down, and SamJ gets yet another kill. DMU T1, this is looking methodical. This is looking like a team with a direction as they will take down the Baron at 21 minutes.
They pulled out a different team composition to what we were expecting. They had the counter pick in the top lane against them. Actually, the Scion was, what they had picked blind, ended up with what should have been a good matchup for Truman. Truman's not managed to make it work, particularly on this Trundle. Instead, SamJ is so far ahead on this Vigor, dealing out massive amounts of damage, as is hoped though. Who we said had to get ahead in the early game has done so and has spread that, advantage across the entire map.
Yeah, 2.5 items on Soxu. Spirit is going to be basically unkillable. Yeah, Truman can still his resistances, but I don't know, there's a lot to go through.
There is so much to go through.
Oh, that's the soul.
That's an uncontested soul that they just picked up out of nowhere. This is the issue with conceding every single Drake. If you are Imperial Apes, you concede every single one and then you lose tempo for 1 second and it's a soul gone. Now the next Drake coming up pretty soon in just 5 minutes 40 seconds is the Elder. Will we even get to that point? Because if you get Elder on top of Soul, that is definitely the game done for DMU, despite the fact that ICL, they do have the ability to scale. Their composition has the ability to get back into this game, but they have to play it well, and being down a Soul does not give them good opportunities.
Yeah, the Baron buff is going to help DMU siege in this base. The wave clear is good for Imperial Apes, if I have to say so, but yeah, the siege is kind of proving to be a problem, I feel like, for DMU. We have to point that out. The only person that's going to hit the towers from range is Xayah, and even then the champion's not great at it.
A little bit of a fight in the top lane.
The teleports being channeled on both sides actually, but Truman is dead before the fight even has any chance to start in earnest. And Astroman is just burning that summoner spell. I feel like DMU are just looking to put this game in the ditch. Dido,
way too
ambitious.
Forwards. Way too far forwards, which is going to stop them having a much escape because of the Lantern being down. Now they have to be even more careful when it comes to sieging. Like you said, they are quite low range.
Oh, SamJ! You are nasty, man! That is going to be a double kill out of nowhere. And I feel like that just will be the base.
They should lose 2 inhibitors for this. It doesn't matter if you are terrible at taking inhibitors and towers. If all of your opponents are dead, you're going to be free hitting in. They might even push for the end. We know that they like to.
SamJ wants more. He goes godlike. He's under the turret. However, will be able to get taken down, but that is it. That is the ace. And DMU T1, 24 minutes in this game. This is a completely different facade from this team. 24 minutes in, 24 kills, 12,000 is the gold lead, and that is a clean game as DMU T1 will put themselves at a sole point in the new finals. Hit the Nexus. There we go.
DMU going to put themselves up 2-1 in the new finals, trying to book their tickets to the LEC right now. Beautiful game coming out of them. Way cleaner. They're making us look like liars. We said that the first 2 games were scrappy and close and went so long, and this one was clean, methodical, and out of the team we didn't expect it to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a different team. I don't know if they just what happened in the break, but this is not what we have seen in the first 2 games, to be frank. And now, I think if you're Imperial Apes, the underlying theme I want you all to think about as we're going through this replays is what do you do in the next game?
Yeah, you've got to change things up. Clearly the adaptation was not working. Imperial thought they had something with the Ashe pickup. In the early game, it actually worked out quite well. But in the end, just does not do enough damage when there isn't anybody else to pick up the slack. You can see during the early game, it was okay for Imperial. They were finding themselves pretty good fights, except they kept going way too far forwards. This is Truman down in the enemy jungle at 7 minutes into the game, way too far forwards, and it just left them exposed. Luckily, Hope was able to get away here, but it's too far forwards if you are Imperial. And this just meant that constantly they were on the back foot. They were finding proactive plays, you can see them right here, but it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's almost the curse that we've seen DMU in the previous games, where Imperial, they can't find a play that actually sticks, something that will be able to get in the lead. It always is a trade, it always is themselves putting further on the back foot, and when it came to the river fights, it literally felt like there was no hope.
No, indeed. Karma gets caught out really very early on in the fight. It's so split up. Hope manages to run into the back line, take out Lucky, and then everybody else is just cleaning house. There's just on the edge of death every single member of both teams, but in the end, DMU coming out on top. It's not clean. It's not clean League of Legends, but it is nice League of Legends, which is more than we've seen in the previous games.
Yeah, I think by the standard of the first two games, this is good League of Legends.
This is true.
Right? Like, yeah, if you judge it by LC's analysis, I mean, this
Watch
is illegal.
Sam
Illegal gameplay. This should not be allowed. Viewer discretion is advised.
That was disgusting out of Samjay, and we didn't highlight the mid lanes particularly because the mid laners hadn't been the main focus. Really, as we'd seen, he had a TF pick in the mid lane during game 2. People didn't want to be in the mid lane. They wanted to be spreading the love bot lane mostly, but now this mid lane is heating up. Does Astromanon have something to counter Samjay with? If not, Samjay clearly has multiple picks that they're comfortable on, can destroy people. Will it come through in game 4?
Those are all the questions that we'll have to find out after the break.
Welcome back, everyone, to an absolute banger of game number 3. DMU take the W, and they're now actually ahead, 2-1. All they have to do is win one more game, and they get that first seed, they get that title, they get that fully paid expense trip to the LEC. So they're pretty close. It's in like reaching distance, but let's go over the performance specifically from last game. And I want to start off with Imperial here, Blockster.
Imperial just have fallen down in a way we were not expecting. Coming into this game, they had won every single game in playoffs. They didn't have a great regular season, but they'd certainly picked it up, were doing beautifully during playoffs, an undefeated run to the finals, had won versus DMU 2-0. What has happened? They've fallen down quite horribly, and in the last game, they just got destroyed, I'd say systematically, by DMU.
Would you say this might have been an issue with their draft? Do you think it was just strategy not coming through, lack of objective control? Would you say top gap, mid gap, jungle gap, AD carry gap? I don't know. What would you say?
I think you hit the nail right on the head with the not necessarily playing to the comp. I think that's the problem of Imperial. They clearly draft for a specific style. You've got a lot of ground control, you need to be looking for picks, you need to get Truman ahead. None of that happened. They just started falling behind everywhere. Yes, they found some engages in the jungle. I like the start. It all went wrong when Karma died, and quite frankly, I need to see Imperial. They can draft the same comp, but they need to actually play to their carries.
Yeah, and we kind of spoke about the win rates that we had coming through from Xayah earlier on today, that 100% win rate being secured, but this time, however, Imperial did get that priority, they did get that Xayah locked in, they even had the Thresh, if I'm correct, and it just didn't really work out for them.
No, it didn't. You can see that in the end, Tomo ended up going way too far forwards. We had that weird jungling situation where both of the junglers were in the top side, but in their opposite top side jungles, Hope ends up coming out on top of that one, picking themselves up a kill, and from there, it just began to spiral where now Truman is too far forwards to get caught out, and constantly Asher are only just missing here. It's so very close, but everything in this game is close right now, and DMU always coming out ahead, and this...
Oh no.
This is beautiful. We've seen this so many times, and I want to see it again. Sam J with a lovely catch right there.
Yeah, I think, again, looking at this game specifically, one of the things that DMU did incredibly well was that dragon control. They managed to get every single Drake once again, and once again, we're looking at this wombo combo coming through, the double kill being secured, but then Drake control. I think this is one of maybe like the elephant in the room here for Imperial specifically. That first game, they let DMU take 3 Drakes up until the point where they got the first one. Then they go into the second game. Again, they let DMU take all the Drakes. They lose that game. And now we're going into game number 3. We just saw it. DMU secures all the Drake once again. Something isn't working there.
You need to find either contest the dragons or you need to get something else on the other side of the map, right? Because you had the counter pick in the top lane. You drafted the channel into the Cyan, you just let them farm. You did not play around it at all. Why not, when you are going for the dragon, why don't you go top lane? Why don't you take the herald? Why don't you try and punish Spirit? If this is an alternative that Imperial could be playing around, right? You don't want to cut the drakes? Sure. Alternatively, play around the dragons, but you know, that might be a bit difficult with how eagerly DMU are contesting them.
Yeah, it's the fact that DMU wants them so desperately, and then it seems like Imperial don't care at all, and they're not always getting trade picks. That is the thing that we saw during Game 1. During Game 1, there were some nice plays where DMU were actually able to find themselves picks down in the bottom lane. Same thing kind of in Game 2 as well, and there was a return. Imperial Apes found something on the other side of the map, a couple towers perhaps. Instead, in Game 3, whenever DMU would get down getting a dragon, they just sort of let it happen. They let the soul go over completely uncontested, and it's not like it went over uncontested because they'd all died. No, they were all on the map, they just left it.
And do you think maybe this is kind of highlighting a bigger issue coming through from Imperial specifically? Do you think their map control, their vision control, just setting up those timings with the backs, managing the waves, hasn't been on point enough to be contesting DMU? Or do you think DMU is just 10 steps ahead and they're just really making sure that these Drakes are unlocked?
I mean, I think it is definitely an issue with the setup from Imperial. That being said, a lot of the teams at the level of, you know, Newell and other university leagues, a lot of those problems don't necessarily, well, they go away if you get ahead. Let's be that simple. If you're ahead, game is easy. You walk somewhere, you get vision, it works. So, yes, well, that is a problem. a solution isn't necessarily, alright, go next split, work on that. No, you just need to find something that works for you so you manage to find a lead.
Yeah, and playing from behind so far for Imperial hasn't really been their strength. We saw it in game number 1. They just barely managed to do it. They even needed 2 total Barons to be able to close out that game specifically. You go into game number 2, they didn't get the chance at all. Game number 3, same thing. So DMU is just looking to remake this scenario time and time again up until the point they get the win. So when we're looking at that, you know, playing from behind, what would you like to see?
I would like to see, first of all, and unfortunately we cannot tell you this right now, who is going to be on what side. We'll see that in just a second when we jump into draft.
There we go.
Right, there we go. Imperial is going to be on to the blue side. So they do not have to ban out the Xayah. If they want to pick it, they can leave it alone. If they're on the red side, then my full strategy for Imperial Apes would have been to ban out Xayah. As it stands though, they're going to take out the Veigar finally. It really was ruining all of their game plans. They were picking a lot of things that wanted to run into the opponents, and you can't do that if there's a cage right in your face.
Yeah, and for the rest of the bans so far, they've been absolutely identical. The Viego, the Nidalee, the Sivir coming through, not one of those champs that they feel comfortable giving away to either one of these teams. But when we're looking at that priority, because we did say Thresh and Xayah, something that these teams are really heavily contesting, DMU left these to Imperial. Do you think there might have been a trap that they set up specifically that Imperial just take them away just so they can counter them?
Well, now that the last one is coming through and that says Inari, I think that is what we are expecting. The Xayah first pick should be a surprise to absolutely no one, as Lucky is going to get his hands on that. Now, the Thresh is usually the trade away, but I love... Okay! Let's go!
Evelyn coming through! This is one of those champs that has been banned permanently so far. It has been left open by Imperial. Imperial went for the Xayah. They fell right for that trap. And now we have the Evelyn, we have the Lucian as well, and Blockster, like, come on, what are we gonna make of this?
I love AP in the jungle. I am the biggest proponent of AP in the jungle that you're ever gonna see, especially when paired with a Lucian that could well go into the middle lane. Really, it unlocks your mid lane to be able to play whatever it wants. Samjay's been playing beautifully on the Veigar specifically. Will they be able to pull out one of those AD champions? In return, though, that's AP in the... Sorry.
AD.
AD in the
That's
middle lane,
AD
probably.
in the middle lane.
Probably. Again, the Cyan being hovered, but we spoke about the Thresh, right? And we spoke about both of these teams really, really wanting this pick, but it's been a couple of rotations so far, and it's not being picked. So Nautilus instead being picked up by Imperial, the support that, you know, DMU went for the last 2 games. What are we making of this?
I think Xayah and Thresh trade has been going this way. You pick Xayah, it's a pretty good safe pick. The response has been Thresh to provide that same safety to the AD carry, but Xayah outdoes that. You know, you can't really protect any other AD carry as well as the Featherstorm does. So DMU say, right, we're gonna give them the Xayah, and then we're going to take the rulebook, and like basically rip it in half. I'm actually not gonna do it. Yeah, those are my notes. I'm not gonna do it right now. But that's what DMU are doing, at least that's my take on it. And the Thresh is now going to be still taken away, just because I think if you're leaving that for the second phase, it's kind of inting for me.
Yeah. You would say so?
Yeah.
It had to go off of the board. Really, I like these drafts simply because we're going to test a theory right here. What we said before during, you know, the pre-game when we were talking about what we were expecting, we said that we wanted the Xayah ban. The Xayah Nautilus has been very strong. It has been the strongest bot lane we've seen in this series so far. So is that actually the most important thing? Or with the adaptation coming out of DMU with this Lucian and the Evelyn, which I love, going to be able to overpower what we thought was the most important picks?
I was going to ask, are you guys expecting to see a Nami with maybe, you know, the Lucian pairing? And then this out of the picture is banned straight away, and I completely understand why that would be the case. I personally want to be playing against that in bot lane, and I'm assuming it's the same from the side of Imperial, but we still have the jungle and the top to be picked here from the side of Imperial, and well, that's the Kench, unbenched the Kench. He's live coming through in the next game. What are you making of this Kench pick, though?
It's just a safe one that provides a lot of utility for either the Lucian or Evelyn, but you can also pair most AD carries with that. You can even go something like Senna here, I'm thinking, for DMU, just really double down on this jungle mid carry.
Yeah, and this time around, however, they are leaving that mid to be the last pick coming through. They have the Elise as well, so AP being locked in once again in the jungle. I see Blockster is really, really happy about that. What do you want to say?
I love more AP. That is a lot of AP. That is a massive split damage profile. We're going to have AP in the top lane and in the jungle, and then we're going to have AD in the mid lane and in the bot lane. And that leaves only one big tank. If anybody gets caught, they're going to get destroyed. Nobody can itemize against this composition. You are going to get shredded whatever you're playing. I don't care if you're a Sion. I don't care if you're a Kench. You're going to get shredded through. The response...
What?
Yeah, that's...
Wait until lock-in.
I was a little
yes,
scared.
That's what it was going to be.
Yep.
The Kench and the Senna.
And the Senna.
It's a very traditional bot lane. We see them quite often. It works really well together because you had the AP in the jungle and it allowed you to put AD into the mid lane.
Yeah, and
love it.
This time around, however, very, very different picks for both of these teams, specifically for DMU, just completely new champion select coming through, whereas the same bot lane is still in play from the side of Imperial. But looking at the champions that have been locked in so far, and I want to start off with the side of DMU because that's the one with, you know, the freshest amount of champions coming through. How are you expecting them to play the game? Because so far, they've really had that Drake control, early control, and then move into slowly the mid to late game. Are you still expecting to see this?
I think this game has a lot more question marks. Ideally, you want to play around Hope and SamJ. I don't know how much you really... I forgot the word. How useful Soxu and Didal are going to be in the early game, especially in that 2 versus 2. So Hope doesn't have as many avenues to play through.
Yeah, it's not just the champion picks that are different, it's the entire playstyle of both of these teams. This bot lane, which has been the main focus of the aggression, I'm sure that Soxu will still try to go forwards and find a kill, but it's less effective on these champions. Instead, it's the mid lane that I'm looking for right now. That is going to be insane. That's high skill right there. There's a lot of ability to move around with the Kiana and the Lucian, and whoever manages to play that matchup just a little bit better is going to come out on top, and that can really swing the whole map. If your mid lane goes, all of a sudden your top lane and your bot lane are both under pressure because these champions can roam.
Yeah, and roaming, something we saw a little bit of last game. We even saw the TF being locked in game number 2. Fortunately, you guys weren't privy to that, but we were. And that TF did come out quite strongly with those drones. So I guess they're kind of going for a similar playstyle coming here through for that mid lane. But something that we spoke about earlier as well was specifically that top lane. So you have these two players, and we genuinely expected last game to be very top lane focused, but that wasn't the case. This time, however, you have the Gwen into the Sion. Do you think there is going to be that pressure to actually focus more on top, considering that it feels like Imperial have just conceded that Drake control?
While yes, you've got the Gwen, it's a great champion, you actually have options now if you're Imperial. This is what I like about this comp. We said, you know, the problems around the setup. My response was play early game, and now they can play through basically any of those 3 lanes.
Yeah, we're heading right into game, so we're going to be figuring out what's going to happen.
We're going to go straight on the way through into this game. Thank you very much to Ginny for the hosting, and straight on we go with, once again, we're going to, you know, everybody's going to jump into...
Okay, good
flash
reaction.
Away from Hope. Yes, beautiful reaction times. And still, the invade going to continue. Really, a lot of pressure being put down by Imperial.
Yeah, they're gonna go and just drop down the words as we can finally see the player cameras. I can only guess by the champion on the other side that we are looking at Spirit right now.
Yeah, indeed, we should be. Everybody playing in the dark. I can't say that I blame them at this time in the evening. Still, though, a lot to play for. Everybody gonna do their absolute best to come out on top. As we've said before, LEC tickets on the line for these teams, as well as bragging rights.
Yeah.
And so, as we come into this game, there's AP on both of these junglers. However, Imperial Apes AP with the Elise wants to get ahead earlier than the Evelyn really wants to.
Yeah, that's really the big difference between those two junglers, is that Karma absolutely must get ahead early. I would go as far as to say that if by 15 minutes we don't see Karma being ahead, you're praying for a miracle, Imperial. I'm gonna be honest.
You really are. The Elise is an early game champion, whereas the Evelyn is basically useless until you hit 6 and get that invisibility. The ability to, you know, shadow herself up, get into lanes. Once you hit that 6, you are much, much more impactful on the map. Until then, it is Karma's map to play with, and they have got to make it count.
Worth pointing out, it is the Fasting Senna that is the most recent flavor of the month, but this bot lane means that Lucky and Kenny should be able to find pretty big leads. Junglers, both starting topside, will be likely pathing towards the bot lane, and Truman already making use of that Gwen.
Yeah, Truman has not been playing particularly well, been given a lot of carries, hasn't piloted them to perfection. Finally, though, is on a true counter. We said that the Trundle was pretty good into the Sion as a counter. The Gwen is even better. Gwen is fantastic into big tanky top laners, especially in the early levels. Spirit is going to have an awful time. And finally, the bot lane is not our big focus, so he can really look at the top lane where they are getting pushed in. Spirit very far under tower, and at the mid lane where I'm expecting some kills, you know, if not some roams.
Indeed. I mean, let's also bring the stakes of the game into the view yet again. Imperial Apes, this is your last shot. You're up against the wall, you need to win 2 games straight in order to win. You'll have a shot at going to the last chance qualifier for UEM. That is also what is on the line. As there we go, that is Samjay fighting Karma in the jungle. One more auto attack. He will not commit for that. He knows everyone else is coming. Good patience there.
Yeah, if he'd have gone any further forwards, he would have ended up in a horrible spot to get taken down instead. It's just going to be some health pass trades. You can see Karma is trying very hard to get ahead. It's what has to happen. Samjay is waiting in the bush, however. I think Karma might be caught out.
Didol gonna go down with the Abyssal Void. Does find the knockout just at the edge. The exhaust is down. First blood picked up by Samjay.
That is not ideal if you are the Elise. Having to find an early game lead does not mean getting taken out within the first couple of minutes. Does get the wrist scuttler, but only just.
I love the cameras right now, especially for the team that just makes the play. Something you miss, honestly, with,
Yes.
well, not seeing the players.
Indeed, it's quite fun to be able to see their reactions. Let's take a look at the state of the game. For the minute, it's a little bit of a gold lead towards DMU, but it's not that massive, and because not everybody has gone back to base right now, you're not really seeing the true fruits of this slight advantage. What is important, though, is that Hope is now on level 4. As soon as that hits level 6, it's going to be a big advantage.
This Karma and Truman going over the wall. They're going to be looking for Hope. Remember, no flash on this Evelyn, but he's away. They do not find the kill, and Spirit is now coming down as well. It's a war over Krugs, and Spirit, he will be looking over the wall, not able to find anything.
That's so unfortunate. You should have enough damage if you are a Gwen Elise combo, and instead Hope just manages to walk it on out, just like, uses the smite against the Crook and walks away. It's not that much healing, and yet it just seems like none of the true damage actually ended up landing. I wonder if, in the end, the cocoon off of the Elise actually ended up landing on a Krog.
Didol going for an aggressive play in the bot lane. He's going to pop the thick skin. Summoner is being traded. Ignite down onto Didol. He does have the flash. Will be able to use it. And there is Soxu getting away as well. All the summoners being thrown down, but no one is dying. And Lucky Kenny going for the aggressive play. It does not pay off.
They try so hard, end up throwing 3 summoner spells down, traded for 3, so in the end it's pretty even. You can see the aggression that can come out of this Xayah Nautilus bot lane, and the fact that the Senna just cannot compete right now. If you're Soxu, probably feels a bit weird. Soxu loves playing those aggressive picks, instead is quite, has to sit quite far back for the minute. And so will they be able to sit back and absorb the pressure? For the minute, they're doing an okay job of it.
Yeah, 1000 is the overall gold lead for DMU, and Imperial, 6 minutes in, still no lead. But the Dragon is up, and this time round, with the bot lane priority and an Elise in the jungle, DMU, they don't dare go for it.
No, for the minute, it's just going to sit there, which is not what we expect. DMU have been going for every single Drake basically instantaneously. Instead, just going to sit up, and that makes sense because, as we said, Hope is still quite far behind. It's going to be, getting towards that level 6, which is where the Evelyn finally comes online. Gonna take a reset. We'll come back with a few more items. We'll see what the build path is gonna be. Actually has a 10 CS lead over Karma because Karma's been trying to gank and hasn't found anything yet.
Yeah, Hope is just clearing all the way to, as you said, that level 6. And it's working if you're scaling, of course. And yeah, no lead to speak of for now. I really want to see where Truman goes with this 1v1 because he's beating the hell out of Spirit. That is the flash force. Come on, if you're Karma, you've got a feeling. Please go top lane, play with Truman.
You have got to try instead. Going to be looking for a lane gank in the bottom side. There is a ward to possibly spot this one out. Hook's going to land.
Didol doesn't have flash, so sure, if you can burst him down, go for that. The exhaust is going to go down to Karma. That is going to stop a lot of the damage, and Abyssal Voyage away. Tamkench is a tough one to kill.
With that thick skin coming in, all of that grey health, gonna keep the Kench pretty healthy in the end. Hope gonna get called out.
Oh,
Should
that
burst.
is the ultimate, and a kill for Astro Manon.
Hey,
Elite's a lead.
if your jungler can't do it, fine. Mid lane's gonna do it themselves. Astronanon with a lovely play. And in the end, just going to walk in, kill Hope, and walk back out again. I said I expected action in the middle lane. That's not quite what I expected, but it's good. And look at this. This is Imperial Apes on a Drake. People savor it. We haven't seen it very often this game.
It's the first dragon they will be taking. Only took them 4 games and it's a Hextech, and I will forever sing the praises of a single Hextech dragon. Extra ability haste, extra attack speed. There's literally no downside to this.
No, it's fantastic, and they were able to pick it up basically for free because of that kill onto the jungler. Once Hope is down, you have no real ability to get into the pit and try to steal it away if you're DMU, and so they end up picking it up pretty easily. Now they're able to continue that snowball, do to DMU what they did to them in the previous couple games.
Well, that's the hope. The gold is still down, but the pieces are starting to fall into place. So Serrated Dirk picked up by Astromanin. Needs to be careful. Hope is sitting around in the bush, has got the level 6. The last caress is available, and it is an executability. And, well, executed.
Indeed, very quick kill. Hope getting a little bit of revenge right there. You could feel the pain in that one from the earlier kill in the jungle. A nice return kill, and now Astronaut is dead. That is full lane priority going over to Samj. Going to be able to pick themselves up a little bit of a CS lead, extend it with a few turret platings as well. And now that mid lane matchup is going to be even harder for the Kiana to play.
It's going to get tough. Samj 101 has a slight CS advantage as well, and Lucian hits hard, especially when that mythic comes through, which look at all the components he's picked up.
Indeed, it is a lot of components already being put down, and yeah, it's going to be the full Kraken coming out for Samj. Fully aggressive. Yeah, fully forwards.
Now, I do like Karma taking the Herald. We have a much, more significant objective focus here this game for Imperial Apes, which is what we wanted to see. We talked on the desk with Ginny about it. And yeah, they get a Herald. Now they are looking for the top lane, and Spirit does use the ultimate. If we could just take a look at what's going on out there. Never mind, Truman takes the kill.
Truman already going to take down Spirit. No return kills are going to go over. There we go. Finally, Karma managing to find something on this map. It's a little bit late, but it is not too far behind. They will now be able to push forwards and quite possibly get not all of this turret, but a good chunk of it. Hope is making their way up to try to stop this from being a first turret going over, but it's a nice play, and we can see true signs of life out of Imperial Apes in this series.
They are playing around their strong lane. They are letting Lucky and Kenny just do their thing. They are still, ahead in CS of the Tam Kench. They are doing exactly what they need to the Herald. Well, someone in the top lane is going to get most of the plays. Oh my god, that is very low health bars, but the ultimate not quite available.
If that last caress was available, that probably would have been a double kill.
Yep.
Instead, everybody's able to limp away, and that's flashes traded on these junglers. It's more impactful for the Evelynn. Evelynn does not have the biggest gap closes, and so to get onto someone, you're going to really want it. Whereas, the Elise does have that cocoon a little bit more long range, as well as that repel. And so flashes traded, and 4 out of 5 turret plates in the top lane. That is a very nice play out of Imperial.
And I want to see what kind of items Truman will be getting soon. Of course, going for the component, for the Rift Maker. But if you are playing around this when you want to start hitting those items, you need to basically just overpower Spirit on the side lane, because so far Truman hasn't been able to do that. No,
it has not indeed. And it's really unfortunate. Truman, during the previous couple of games, was put in a position to carry.
It's a solo kill.
Astronanon is finding lots of solo kills, has been falling prey to ganks, unfortunately, but we said that this mid lane might be explosive. Unfortunate that we did not manage to catch that one, as there's a play down in the bottom lane that should just fizzle out. Does indeed. This Kiana being ahead makes it very unplayable during objectives. If you get caught in a Drake pit, you're going to get bursted down through that ultimate.
There's the route onto Lucky. Hope is still over the wall, but the Imperial Apes, they are almost evening up the gold lead, and Karma is walking around the top side, making the plays around the aggressive members that they drafted for even more plays going the way of Imperial Apes. It's kind of everything we wanted to see from this draft, from even before this draft, but I'm still not content until I see more.
Yeah, I need to see another Drake and a first turret going down. Then I can truly say that Imperial Apes have tried their best to become an early game team. They've been destroyed in the early game during multiple during the first couple of games, so now they are finally fighting back. They've drafted themselves a very strong early game composition. Unfortunately though, bits of it do fall off quite hard, and so they have got to keep accelerating themselves ahead, lest they fall prey to what could be a very strong composition out of DMU.
Oh yeah, when we're hitting 30 minutes, the train is not stopping, both Sign and Evelyn here. And Mythics picked up by Astroman and Lucky, so we have the damage spikes being acquired. The Dragon up in 3 seconds. You can see a lot of DMU members around it, and they are looking for a play mid onto Astroman, and the exhaust has just expired. Hope looking for the charm. There's the flash over the wall. Astroman just burning the summoner, paying the tax, and trying to disengage, but Soksu, alright, he is fine. I just saw a lot of blue circles on the minimap next to him. Kenny will be able to flash away from the Abyssal Voyage. DMU just burning summoners left, right, and center. They are now taking the Dragon.
It's going down incredibly quickly. Will Karma be able to get in onto it?
Astroman is also there on the side. Kenny goes over the wall. The Dragon has been secured. Astroman tries to burst down and manages to do so. Soksu in the backline is dead. There's the Devoured Idol, will be safe for the time being. Hope in the pit. He is taken down, and this kind of looks like a shooting range for Imperial 8. As DMU T1 are slowly but surely dismantled, and it's only Spirit left to tell the tale.
Truman never even got into that fight, and it still ends up being a 2 for 4 in the favor of Imperial Apes. They're going to try their best to also take out the Scion.
Spirit getting a massive knockout from another turret. He's going to go down. Spirit getting a kill back for DMU.
That was lovely out of Spirit. Going to stop a lot of this push as well. Instead of being a turret in the middle lane, going to get a kill back. It was very nice for Imperial Apes still though, managing to pick themselves up. Not the Drake, but the fight.
Yeah. So, where does that leave us? We have 1 Drake apiece in this mountain. Gonna be honest, kind of boring.
It is a little bit. There's nothing wrong with a Mountain Drake, especially if you're a Scion. Scion with a Mountain Drake is disgusting. Actually, as is a Kench. Kench and Scion with Mountain Drake is really nauseating. However, just being able to keep multiple members of Imperial a little bit healthier with it could be useful.
Yeah, but also, it's all lethality damage.
Yeah.
There is no armor pin, so actually, yeah, if DMU get to stack those dragons, I take it back. Mountain is great.
Yeah, Mountain is great for this team comp. It doesn't stop it from being a little bit boring.
True.
But there's nothing wrong with it. I think the issue, sorry, a little side point, I think the issue of the Mountain Drake being boring is not actually the Drake and what it does, it's just the fact that the map it creates is a bit dull.
I mean, Kiana's gonna love that.
Kiana is gonna love that. That is a fantastic point. More walls to be able to stun people up into and deal massive burst damage to. Samj.
Well, talking about dealing massive damage, wait, Samj, he's closing forward! He takes the play, the igniting! It is a 1-for-1, but Samj, that was impressive.
It was a lovely little play. Astronaut trying so very hard to pick up that kill, just could not finally land an auto attack to finish off the job. Both of them gonna end up going down. Hope is down in this bottom lane. This could be a dive.
Lucky getting very low. Featherstorm, it will be coming back up in a second or two. It is up. No summoners though. And Karma is going. Wait! Oh! How did you get back there? It doesn't matter because you're dead anyways. And Karma's gonna be able to take the kill. So Voyage interrupted. Idol's gonna be next. 2 kills picked up by Imperial.
Unfortunately, no Drakes for them to pick up, but that is 2 quick kills. They should be able to push down onto this tower as well. Soksu has got to run, otherwise they're gonna find themselves dove under this tower. You can see Karma going round behind it. Soksu knows that, turns tail, runs. This will be a push onto the tower and possibly a first tower blood over to Imperial Apes.
1000 gold ahead, gonna be even more. We've got the Mythics, the Night Harvester picked up by Karma, and they keep going. This is what we wanted to see, Imperial Apes. They want to keep fighting in this series. They want to bring us to Silver Scrapes, and they are set in the correct direction.
This is the way it needed to go. It had to be early game advantages, especially because of the Elite, and earlier game advantages they have found. The mid lane tower is taking a lot of damage. Karma might try on Samj.
Flash, there's the damage. Not even throwing the cocoon until now, and killing spree, clean solo kill.
That was lovely out of Karma. Just highlighted the fact that they had to get themselves ahead and are continuing to do so. Has the Night Harvester, so is going to be dealing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And is not going to have a particularly easy time shredding through any of the big tanks. I mean, that's not what you want an Elite for anyway. And so if you're going to get on top of Samj or Soksu or even Hope, could just burst them down. Unfortunately, we've said it 1,000 times so far this game, Elite falls off really hard. So if you are Karma, you have got to keep finding yourself those solo kills. Otherwise, you're going to begin to slip.
Yeah, DMU, I feel like their game plan right now is just trying to slow this game down. Spirit is hella tanky, and Samj is also pretty strong right now. Soksu, let's like this enough. nothing really too much to do, but we pick up more souls, get more gold on this champion. He's gonna start dishing damage out.
Really is going to be able to destroy people in the late game, especially with all of that range. Range is beautiful when you're against some slightly shorter range champions on the side of Imperial. The Xayah specifically is quite a short-ranged carry. It's not the longest of range, not the shortest of ranges either, but not going to be able to get on top of a Senna with a lot of souls, most certainly, and nobody else is going to be particularly able to either. But it's not the play style of Soxu. Soxu wants to go in, and if you go in on a Senna, I think you might have a bad time.
I mean, let's give him the benefit of doubt. You know, maybe he can stay back this game, especially that this game is not about him carrying.
Yes.
It is going to be about Samjay, it is going to be about Hope, and it's going to be a nice bonus, but what are we at? 13 seconds to the dragon, and you can see like clockwork DMU T1 swarming to bot side river.
DMU do not like conceding Drakes. They only let over the first one, but now everybody in a choke point.
Is not going to die though. He is going to pop the Tixie, and that's all of damage, and Karma on the rampage. Here comes Astroman on the flank. Hope is stunned up. Truman takes him down, and that's 2 DMU members dead out of the bat, and the Drake will go the way of ICL.
That is going to be a second Drake over onto ICL, as you said. And this was a lovely play. Astronaut on the flank, but in the beginning, it is Kenny with a lovely hook landed to get things started.
Indeed, and the Herald Salmon tier 1 in the mid lane has fallen. We've seen a methodical game from DMU. Now, can Imperial Apes repeat that same feat? The charge goes into the second tide. That is a pretty big wave, and 3 members of Imperial are going to be hitting it. 2 mid lane towers, a dragon, and 2 kills.
That is a clean sweep right there. If you are Imperial Apes, you've got to be feeling very good about this game. Like you said, last game out of DMU was very clean. This is a even cleaner game right now out of Imperial Apes. If we talk about what we were expecting coming into this game, this is what we were expecting out of Imperial Apes as the undefeated in playoffs team coming into this final.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to see, or well, to be honest, all of us wanted to see, from Imperial Apes coming into this game if they are still fighting in it. If they, you know, have the fight to keep going, if they want to go to Game 5. This is exactly the kind of League of Legends we needed to see.
Yeah, it really is, and they've managed to pull it out pretty beautifully. We wanted adaptation, and this is an entirely different composition that they managed to draft for themselves. Only the bot lane is the same. The bot lane has not been the main focus, but that doesn't mean that Lucky isn't dealing a lot of damage, and Kenny isn't being impactful.
Yeah, I mean, 2 items on that Xayah, finished Mura Mana, he's hitting like a truck, and now, we have sung a lot of praises for Imperial Apes. The game's not over. I think that's the most important thing. We should not get ahead of ourselves, because we have seen DMU throw an early game lead already.
Oh yes, we have. They certainly can do, and so will they be able to find their own way back into this game? Things are not set in stone right now. I just think that the composition Imperial has avenues into the late game, but doesn't want to get there too even. For the minute, they're far enough ahead that coming into these fights, they have an item advantage and a vision advantage right now. You can see all of the wards across this river. But if they fall behind, it could become quite dicey. As of right now, though, everybody's playing it slow, and everybody is eyeing up this Baron.
Yeah, Imperial Apes really need some objective to break this game open, because DMU, they're just bunkering down, they're gonna clear out the waves, and they're gonna look for picks if you make any mistakes. So far, not seen too many from Imperial, but that doesn't mean they can't happen, and the later this game goes, the less it takes to make it all slip through.
Yeah, everybody is scaling beautifully on the side of DMU. Gonna continue going through. Hopefully, they will be able to find their way back into this game, even things up a bit. But right now, it's clean play out of Imperial Apes. Looking to go forwards.
Yeah, the Idol is going to get caught out yet again, almost taken down. Whistle Voyage isn't going to be enough. He gets into the middle of everyone. The shield makes him stay alive, and Lucky, he's going way too far forward. That is the Featherstone Idol. He's still staying alive, and Lucky is taken down by Samjay. But here comes Astroman with a supreme display of talent, and he's going to take down the mid lane of DMU. Sox on the turret. He's getting run down. He's somehow still alive. What is this team fight? And Hope on the backside. Let's not forget about the Evelyn, because this fight's only a 2-4-2, and DMU will take any day of the week. And what's even better, a 3-4-2 as Hope gets another one.
Just beautiful plays out of DMU, punishing the over-aggression out of Imperial Apes. It is really unfortunate when everybody goes flying forwards, finding the pick, and the pick is onto a Tom Kench. The Tom Kench has so much tank, so much health bar that you have to get through. 2 whole health bars if you try to burst them out that you have to get through, and they just didn't have the damage to close it out. It survived long enough throughout that fight that in the end everybody's able to collapse. Hope is able to flash over a wall into the backside, take out Astronanon, who tried to finish the fight off. And that is a nice avenue back into this game that DMU really needed.
Some extra goal to stall the game out, I suppose, but if lucky, you won't be diving in the backline. I don't think we're gonna see that again. I'm gonna be honest.
No. It would be very hard for them to pull out a repeat performance because it was more positioning mistakes coming out of Imperial than fantastic plays out of DMU. Don't get me wrong, the plays out of DMU were great, but they didn't, you know, it was punishing mistakes that aren't necessarily going to be repeated. If Imperial play it cleaner, as they have done for the rest of this game, they will be able to put themselves in a nice spot. There is a Baron up, but I think more importantly for both of these teams, 40 seconds until the Drake.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see a fight around that, and all the ultimates are slowly coming back up. Dawning Shadow still not quite there yet, and actually with this cooldown, not sure if it will be up, but it is all about the mid lane priority right now. Both teams trying to get control over this wave, then get some of that vision and look to go from there.
Hook gonna land once again onto the Kench.
Yeah, oh god, this time the AUE is just dead. Without the support, actually, I think Imperial Lips might be able to take this dragon because of the numbers disadvantage. When you're behind in gold, it's not a fight you want to take.
No, they're gonna have to back off. This is the kind of fight where I think DMU probably would like to go in, but hopefully are not gonna go for it. Hope, a little bit caught out. Lucky has not got the flash, is just, you know, going to bully Hope away. That's not usually what you expect out of an Evelyn getting pushed away by an AD carry on their own.
For sure not, but Hope only on 1 item. Still working for that second. Still a while to go. And that is going to be the sole point for Imperial. Uncontested. Not surprised, DMU did lose their support and Idol is only now coming back out on the map. And, well, we are going to hit the later stages. Now, is there a clock for Imperial? And if so, what kind of time frame are we looking at?
I think they have another 10 minutes, but these have to be 10 proactive minutes. They cannot find themselves stalling out. Truman on the flank.
Going to be looking for Samji. That is the teleport coming in from Spirit as well. The hook goes wide, and Didal can't quite make it over the wall. The tanks are eating a lot of damage, but the rest of DMU can help them, and that's Didal dead. Spirit is going to be next to picks for the side of Imperial. The Baron is up if they want to, but Hope looking for Astroman, and on the side just does get him low, but not low enough.
Hope is still alive. This means that this Baron will still be a little bit of conflict. It's quite hard to find that Evelyn moving around, so you have to have pinks, can't just have usual wards.
Jay jumped in by Astroman. I think he's going to go for the exhaust, but the hook connects on Kenny. Soxu still manages to take out Astroman, and Hope, he is alive. He is the hope for DMU T1. There's a lot of damage coming out from Soxu, and this is so stressful. Imperial will relinquish control over the pit. They will back out.
What could have been a swinging, decisive fight for Imperial ends up actually going in the favor of DMU simply because they were able to stop the Baron. It was not a positive play, but they managed to stem the bleeding, which is what they really need to do. As I was saying before this fight really kicked off, they have about a 10-minute timer if you are Imperial. A couple of minutes of that has begun to go away. Hope.
Oh, good. No! Hope shuts down Karma! That is one hell of an outplay to pull off now.
Oh, that was a beautiful outplay, and that is the turning point of this game. Karma is now not an important champion, and Hope is fully online. This means that at this point, they're going to be able to find themselves a Baron, and you said that throws were possible.
I mean, the stat check has been won by DMU. Can they win the Baron as well? Truman did TP on the flank there. Kenny will be fishing for a hook. Does manage to connect it. What a knockout coming in from Astro Man of DMU. They are still stand strong. Keep your eyes on Samjay and keep your eyes on Hope. But Lucky is dishing out the damage, and Samjay is dead. Hope on the other side of the map, Didal will be able to clean up the fight. Lucky is forced to use that Feather Storm, and Didal will be cut down by Truman's scissors. You have to believe. No, that's the flash away, and Hope, he's got plenty enough. The charm is being charged up, and he goes for the hate spikes. Truman, he is invincible. The blast going over. What is this fight?
Oh, Blastcone Gaming is going to stop anybody else from dying. In the end, the Baron doesn't even fall. It is insane the whole way through.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
This is a game for, I mean, DMU, they are 1 win away from winning your Imperial Apes. They are fighting for their lives. I kind of want a game 5, but I don't know if I'll live that.
I don't think we survived through a game 5. Imperial dragging us that way as it stands. Everything is on a knife's edge. These teams are playing at peak performance. Finally, it took a couple of games for them to get into it. I like the team play, and I like the outplays everybody is trying to put on the board.
I mean, this is just going back to the Fiesta territory, I'm gonna be honest. This is not an early game Fiesta.
No.
But we are going into a Fiesta nonetheless. And this is kind of, maybe we can make the argument, Imperial trying to hold on to the last vestiges of a time where they truly have control over the map.
Yeah, they are the strong composition, no more.
Look at Hope.
They have got to catch out Hope, or they have got to, avoid those Hope flanks. Constantly under threat of an Evelyn is not a nice way to play, though. It means you can't leave anybody in a side lane because they will inevitably have an Evelyn behind them. The easiest way to play against Evelyn is always assume she's round the corner.
Yeah, and that is going to be very found onto Spirit. He's got the flash, he's got the ult. We'll be using both to get away, and Astroman, and he's looking for a pick on the side. Who was that onto? That was SamJ. He's able to dash away.
SamJ taking a lot of damage out of that, though. There is 50 seconds left onto the Drake, and there is mid lane priority for DMU trying to push onto this tower.
The ultimate still largely intact for the side of DMU. A lot of them dropped by ICL already onto that Featherstorm. And the Gwen ultimate available from the big ones, I'd say. And the target is not going to be able to be taken. The Baron is up, the Dragon is going to be up in 30 seconds. Let's not forget, Imperial Apes are on soul point.
Not to be superstitious, but look at the kill, death, and assist score currently on Astronanon. Yep. Is it going to be doomed for him or for his opponents? However, a fight brewing.
Karma Flash Cocoon is going to go wide. Astronanon will be fishing for Hope. Let's go for that little damage. The fire is going to be coming from Dino Hope. He's so very low and shut down by Astronanon on the backside. And Truman is zoning Spirit away. Soksu and Dial trying to stand their ground. Double kill is picked up by Astronanon. And SamJ is dead. That is 3 members of DMU that are down, and it's only Soksu and Spirit. I don't know if they can hold on. Truman is going to just dash under the turret. Soksu will be able to find the route, but the wave is big, the wave is there, and the death timers are also long.
They can definitely pick themselves up a tower here. They probably can pick up an inhibitor.
Soksu's dead. I think that might be the game, honestly. Spirit is going to be taken down under the turret. Can he cut the wave? That is the big question. No, he cannot. The wave is still there. The death timers are so long, 10 seconds, but it's way too long. Imperial Apes will take us to a game 5.
Oh, we have a game 5 in the final series of New Varsity. This is everything that we wanted. This series has been absolutely insane. A clean game out of Imperial Apes. Got a tiny bit dicey in the mid game, and they come back strong. One good team fight. Astronanon was insane on that Kiana.
What a game to send us into the final match of this series. People popping off left, right, and center. But we are going to have some replays to look through how this game went. And I mean, it all started with success.
Yeah, Astronanon laying down the damage onto a not yet 6 Evelyn. All through this, they were fighting on both sides. Everybody was picking themselves up a few things. Things just kept going more in the favor of Imperial Apes than it did in the favor of DMU.
Yeah, and this build series really seems to be the series of inches. You pick up the small things early on and they stack up. And this time, it was Imperial Apes' turn to do it, but it all came off the back of a successful draft. Let's be honest, yeah, we can marvel at the plays. How well they played them. This is exactly what they drafted.
Yeah, they played the draft perfectly. They had to find early aggression. Unfortunately, Karma didn't find all of the early aggression. Had a pretty nice early game, but really it was Astronanon who managed to get themselves ahead. Truman also was constantly burying out Spirit, even if they weren't finding solo kills, doing well for themselves. And then look at the damage Astronanon can do. Can just lay it down. It doesn't necessarily turn the whole fight in their favor, but still, you can just see how much they're able to lay down.
Yeah, and it's the big ultimates as well from the Kiana. It's the small advantages, but it's the big plays that got Imperial Apes over the edge. And, you know, the game started getting dirty around here. The fights maybe, you know, looking very close, like DMU can't even get back up, especially this one. I mean, how close can you really get?
Oh, health bars left on so very little, and this will be the end fight right here. You can see that Hope just gets taken down by Astronanon. It ends up in a double kill for them. and it was just beautiful the whole way through. Imperial Apes did not want to lose this series. You could tell they were clawing their way back into it, and we are now at a best of one to see who wins Newell Varsity for spring.
We've got one more break, don't go anywhere. It's all resting on this one game.
you
Hi, my name is Becca and I'm studying a BSc in esports production. I'm working with the Newell for this year's Amazon University Esports Varsity Finals. My role for this production is audio engineer and also observer 2 for League of Legends. The experience has been really enjoyable. I've had the ability to work with all different amazing talent throughout the week.
Hi, my name is Rory Singer. I'm studying BSc Esports Production. I'm working with the Newell for this year's Amazon Esports University Finals. My role for this production is replay operator. The experience has been informative, educational, and I've learned a lot which I'll be able to use on other productions. So far, I've amassed over 192 hours of esports broadcast this year. I've recently worked on Echo's world's first production out in Hamburg, Blizzard's AWC and MDI programs, and of course, Newell.
Hi, my name is Morgan and I'm studying BSc Live and Technical Events. I'm working with Newell for this year's Amazon University Esports Varsity Finals. My role for this production is lighting and video engineer. The experience itself has been very interesting and very new compared to what I normally do. I'm working towards specialising as a lighting and video engineer for live production. So far, I've amassed roughly 30 hours in esports production this year. I have recently worked on Industry Week 2022 at Confetti as a lighting engineer.
Hi, my name's Alex and I'm studying BSc Esports Production here at Confetti. My role for this production, I've been switching between a graphics operator and a technical director. So far the experience has been really good for consolidating all of the learning we've done here at Confetti and in my time working as a freelance on the side. So far this year I've worked on 55 unique esports productions since December, and that's thanks to the connections here at Confetti. Alongside my studies here at Confetti, I work as a freelance esports producer, and I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to work on this year's Blast Spring qualifiers for 2022.
Gamers, welcome back to the final game of this evening. We said it was a best of 5. We said it was gonna go all the way. My oh my, we were actually correct. There was no cast or curse involved when we said that we were gonna be going to the 5th game. But let's talk about last game specifically here, Boxer, because DMU, they did manage to take it away, and we're getting a request from production to to sing. Unfortunately, I do not know the lyrics or anything, but I can give you guys a wave.
Hi.
That's like the best I can do here.
It is
little
full
dancey dance.
Silver Scrapes angle. Unfortunately, there's not a musical drop of talent between the three
sorry.
of us, but you have all heard Silver Scrapes, and we've gone to a game 5. Imperial Apes managed to pull themselves back into a great spot by playing beautiful, clean League of Legends. There were a few iffy moments here and there, but they drafted themselves an early game composition, and they played beautifully in the early game.
I think, honestly, if we separated the series into 2 episodes. We've got episode 1, it's the coin flip era. Teams are picking team comps, things happen, someone wins at the end. Games 3 and 4, we had actual, team comps drafted with a purpose, and they were played through, and the respective teams won. DMU Game 3, Imperial Game 4. Now, what the hell are we gonna see in Game 5 is my question.
I have absolutely no idea, and I think when we came into this specifically, we were kind of joking about it being 5 games. We were even saying Imperial, they've done it before, they beat DMU 2-0. They can do it again. No, we were wrong. They are currently actually behind, so they kind of have to, well, they're not behind, they're identical, they're tied. So, but last game specifically, I think coming through Imperial, they looked very strong, and DMU didn't really, work out for them. So I think we'll maybe start off by dissecting the way that these compositions were picked and then played out. So from the side of DMU, we saw a whole new amount of champions being thrown. We saw the Lucian, we saw the Evelyn come through, and we were really excited about those. But once we actually got into game here, it didn't work out correctly.
Not quite. To be fair, I think the early game was all on the side of Imperial, and they have executed it. Evelyn needs time to scale, and Resolution can do well if you're the only person on your team with some kind of early game agency. That really doesn't translate that well into that. I think it was a useful lesson. It was a useful loss for DMU T1, I'd say, because now you know, no, you cannot draft for scaling. Imperial will punish you, so don't do it now.
Yeah, and looking at the side of Imperial when it comes through, like that early game, something that so far they have actually not been good at. Even the game that they won, it was because they were able to scale. It was because they were able to get those advantages. They got 2 Barons in a row, and that's how they closed out game number 1. Now, game number 2, it was like a completely different team. They were actually strong in the early game. What happened there?
I know, they managed to actually pull themselves up by themselves rather than through some, how do I say this? Throws out of DMU that we kind of saw in game 1. You were being tactful skating around it. No, DMU threw it. They were in a beautiful spot, and it was an unfortunate set of plays that came out of an over-aggressive Cogmore. So in this game, though, that we just saw, it was so much cleaner. In the end, Imperial managed to pick themselves up an early game composition and then play through the early game really nicely. They were on a timer. We were talking about it. They had about 10 minutes until they were completely outscaled. We saw the moment where Hope did outscale Karma, but they were close enough at that point in time that Imperial was just able to eke themselves forwards. Playing around your conditions, it's pretty hard, and they were able to do it effectively enough that I'm impressed with the team.
Yeah, and something we've said here on the desk time and time again, and maybe some people might consider this flame, was the fact that Imperial actually was incredibly terrible at getting those dragons. They not only didn't they not get the dragons, they just had no control, no setup, no wards, no vision, no teleports, no wave management coming into these. But this time around, they got every single one. They just wanted to prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I mean, you pick a comp that has an Elise, an early game jungler that is supposed to play around those. You actually have your, your lanes being played through, and you set up for the dragons. It's kind of as easy as that. And Imperial, they have proven that, yeah, if they draft for the dragon takes, they can do it. And it worked in game 4. Honestly, going into this game, I might just expect them to do the same thing.
Yeah, we're going to be heading into drafts as well for the final game of the evening, and this might give us a bit more of an understanding of what DMU wants to do in this final game, considering that Imperial showed up and they were like, yeah, early game, you guys have been good at it so far, but we can do it too. So, coming again, these bans, the Nidalee, the Sivir coming through, we've seen it time and time again. The Veigar ban, this is what we saw last game. And I think they're just repeating it here. They don't want it to like mess up with their composition. But in terms of the Ahri and the Karma, why would that be the case?
I think the Karma specifically is very interesting to ban out. Karma has been a very strong pick throughout a lot of different metas that we've seen. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You can either put it in the bot lane and have yourself a very high poke bot lane, or you can put it into the middle lane and have a mid lane that won't lose. And so I don't think it's a particularly high priority pick for Samjay. Samjay's been playing things that are much more aggressive, but a high priority pick is certainly the Thresh. We've seen it first picked multiple times, and their Spirits going to pick it up for Didol already.
Yeah, and Zaya is banned away, so usually the trade isn't there that was taken before. And yeah, we've got a high priority AD carry for the side of the MUT1. You will be happy with this first pick. That being said, Lucian is now going to go the way of Imperial.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of like doing the exact same thing what we did before. They leave the Zaya open. They're trying to see if the MU is going to be going for it. But the Viego, that was also left open.
Yeah, the Viego has been on the ban table basically throughout every single game. And now it slips through. We're going to see Hope on a very aggressive champion. Hope loves the Viego, is incredibly good on it. When paired up with the Thresh as well, it gives you a little bit of ability to go forwards and have that lantern to get yourself back away. The Jinx we've not seen and is going to be picked up. I love it. This is a very traditional composition, something we've seen for the past couple of patches. And I think if you want to play in a 5th game in the finals, you want something comfortable, this is comfortable.
Yeah, and at least there's no Aphelios as of, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that is going to be pulled out as well, but they have that Lucian for mid, and last game specifically, we saw DMU going for Kiana mid, and it worked out for them kind of, not really. So do you think that it's one of those picks again that they're looking forward to this time? However, they do have that AD jungler instead, so you kind of want to balance it out in terms of having some AP as well?
I think we're looking at a control mage for Samjay. I'm going to be honest, this guy is a great control mage player. The Veigar is what we've seen him on today. We have seen the Syndra in the game 1 as well, which I would not be surprised to see it back here. I want to see control mage coming out from Samjay, put him on something that can have agency early, but also scale into team fights.
Yeah, and so far coming through as well, and from the side of Imperial, it's been the same champions as we've seen last game specifically, so they have the Trundle again. And considering this time around, they actually did get the Drakes, do you think this is just one of those priority picks that they have to get if they want to play for that early game?
Not necessarily, but it definitely could help. I mean, as we've been saying a lot, it's these mid laners that really we need those big picks for. Are you going to put it as the counter pick, though? I'm not sure. We haven't seen the counter pick actually go into the mid lane particularly, but it's game 5. This is the time to adapt. Maybe they could put it in onto that pick for the minute. Everything other than one ban right now has been a top lane focus, so clearly no top laners are allowed to get through the dance, you know, stretching champion pools.
Do you think they're going to be giving that counter to top or to mid lane specifically this game?
That's a tough one. Given that we've seen Imperial play both around Truman and Astroman, and I have to guess it's, well, I took too long to answer. It is mid lane.
No, you pretend that you're still guessing. It's okay. We can do it. It's fine.
Make your guess. What do you think it's going to be?
Probably going to be mid lane. I don't think it's going to be a mid cannon. I think it's going to go to Truman, which is interesting because it is something he played in the regular season. Not something we have seen in this playoff series so far, but it is a pick that also provides that missing teamfight utility for the comp of Imperial Apes.
Yeah, and do you think the impact coming through from the cannon this time around is going to be enough to actually help Imperial succeed? So far, you know, you have the Trundle, you have the Nautilus that are a little tanky, you're using that cannon for the engage. Do you think this is going to be working out for them? Are you a little concerned with the Scion and the Victor pick coming through?
Sounds pretty good at neutralizing out anything, particularly a Kennen as well. But the Kennen will have a pretty free early game. Obviously, it's going to have that range advantage, should be able to have control of the lane, if not get kills onto the Scion.
Oh boy.
But that is a repeat Kiana for Astronaut. In the last game, it was absolutely insane. I'm expecting it to be fantastic in this game. Into a equally aggressive Victor pick, though. There's going to be a lot of scaling, a lot of burst damage. Again, we might see some solo kills in the middle lane.
Yeah, and I want to kind of talk about this bot lane specifically coming through here. We still have the Nautilus and the Thresh being played, but this time, however, we have the Jinx and the Lucian. The Lucian, you know, once they get that Eve ability online, has that opportunity to just right and dash onto the Jinx's face. Thresh can do some peeling, but how worried should DMU be about their bot side, and how much do you think their junglers should be trying and focusing that, considering they also didn't get any Drakes last game?
So here's what I want to preface. This is kind of exactly the balance that I was expecting coming into this match. We have Imperial Apes focused on the early to mid game, and DMU2 going for the full scaling hypercarries. That being said, I think we should be seeing junglers go there. Imperial Apes have a lot more flexibility with that, since I don't think Karma has to gank bot lane, but it's going to be beneficial. On the other side, Hope, I don't know what other lanes he's going to gank. I mean, mid lane is an option, but top lane, I don't really see you ganking for a Scion, I'm going to be honest.
It is some gank setup, I guess, but getting the Scion ahead is not necessarily where you want to go. It might be a return to the bot lane focus, which is, I mean, what we expected during the early stages of this series. And I mean, what better way to round it out than with everybody going back to the coin flip, dogfights kind of style that we saw right at the start.
Yeah, burger flip it with that smite, burger flip it with the ganks. Who knows, it might work out, it might not. This sounds like typical solo queue to me, but these teams so far, they have made it work for them. You know, they've gotten this far for a reason, and we're going to be finding it out in this next game. Who is going to be taking away that championship title?
Everything to play for. We're going on to the red for the final game of the day. And well, it is early game versus late game split again, with Imperial Apes having the priority early on, if you like.
They should do, but DMU looking to start themselves off nicely. Another 5-stack. They've done that a couple times in the last couple of games. In the end, nothing's going to happen by this point. Imperial Apes are actually pretty wise to this little play, and everybody's going to start in standard positions.
The standard positions indeed. Now, something that I do want to touch on is where exactly is Karma going to go, right? I mentioned before Genie came off is that they've got options, because really you can gank for probably every single lane. So where do you think is the most impactful?
I think you want to get Astronaut on the head. Clearly, they proved that they can play the Kiana very well in the early game, but the Kiana scales fantastically into the late game. The thing is, though, you have a lot of AD. The Lucian and the Kiana are going to be doing a lot of AD damage, and so if you need it to be balanced out, which, I mean, you really want it to be balanced out, you're going to have to get your Kennen ahead into a position where not necessarily they are the main carry, but they're, you know, far enough ahead that they will be that AP threat.
Now the late invade coming in from Imperial Apes. It's not going to be spotted out, but that means it is a free red buff start for Karma. And I sure hope that Hope is going to find out about it soon. Otherwise, DMU off to a shaky start.
Not the start you want in this final game. We're going to reiterate stakes one more time. The winner of this is the winner of Newell Varsity for this spring split. And they're going to go to watch the LEC live, which is awesome. Everybody wants that. I'm very jealous of whoever ends up winning. And so everybody in this game is going to be wanting to go full forwards.
I mean, hey, if you win this, you're also going to be fighting for the UK spot in the last chance qualifier for the University Esports Masters. So, no, University European Masters. There we go. That's the acronym. It's game 5, guys. It's been a long day. But yeah, everything to play for. One more game. SamJ getting the early shot in the mid lane. And oh god, Karma is going to be looking for him. Let's see if Samji gets to walk away. Might be a flash down, but no, there's the exalted hope. Ghost flashes over the wall. Karma will be forced to flash away. One more to will do it. And first blood goes the way of Samj.
That is the good start for DMU and absolute disaster for Imperial Apes. They did not want to fall behind early. They are the team that has got to be ahead right now. And that is a disastrous start. It should even out. But that is just unfortunate. It was an aggressive play out of Imperial Apes that ends up being punished.
Yeah, and this is not the kind of start you wish for, especially that scaling-wise. I really think DMU are the clear-cut favorites here. You've got the Victor, you've got the Jinx. The damage is matched somewhat, but it's very conditional.
It is. You have got to be careful about falling behind if you are this Imperial Apes composition. You have ways back into this game, but you are not scaling as well as a Jinx, as well as a Victor. And I mean, the infinite scaling in terms of tankiness that you're going to get out of your Scion means that you are on a little bit of a timer. It's not as aggressive as a timer as we saw in the last game, where if you have the Elise, you do not want to fall behind at all. But still, you want to put yourself ahead, and so going down already starts you off on the wrong foot.
And bot lane, Lucky and Kenny playing defensively so far. And top side, we have Truman just shoving. So things going kind of as expected right now. Maybe I would have liked to see Lucky and Kenny have a bit more aggression, but it's completely fair if they're waiting for jungle. But talking about junglers, what a beautiful play from Didal! He's fishing for the hook, but it's not going to connect onto Lucky. Kenny getting the dredge line under the tower, and both bot laners from Imperial Apes will be able to get out.
It was beautiful out of Didal, throwing out the lantern, using it to then get the flay on and get Hope into the fight, and it should have ended in kills, but not quite, with no ignites actually. Oh, wait, one ignite used on Didal, not quite ending up with the kill, but getting multiple summoners burnt out of this bottom lane means there is a repeat gank angle.
Absolutely, I want to see Hope get right back there, and there we have the CS being updated. Soxu Didal getting off to an early start, and if you look down the lanes, DMU ahead in every single one of them.
That is a triple longsword start.
Never mind, I might have actually spoken too soon, because Samj is about to get the gang. The stun does connect though, and the ignite is down. Samj just taken down by Karma.
Oh, it didn't look like they were going to have enough damage until a couple of seconds in. Finally, all the burst comes down, and that's what we're expecting out of Astronaut on this Kiana, playing it beautifully. I'm very scared for all of the DMU members once they have that perfect execution ultimate up and available. One Drake for the minute. Who's going to get the first one? We've seen that Imperial Apes can get them, but DMU are more on the side of getting early Drakes.
Well, I think bot lane priority is the thing to watch right now, swinging the way of Lucky and Kenny. And so yeah, they will be the first one to rotate over, but none of the junglers are in the vicinity, so probably just going to wait for a bit.
Yeah, probably. It is going to be an Ocean Drake, which is nice to get a little bit of extra healing and health regen, but nothing too impactful for the minute. As it stands, everybody sitting back pretty chill. This is a big game, and you can feel it. You can feel the tension out of both of these teams.
None of them want to make the mistake. I mean, you don't have any more chances. This is it. This game decides whether you walk away the victorious winner, or if you're gonna go get forgotten from the history books as the runner-up. And the Dragon is going to be started by Karma with Kenny and Lucky keeping the bot lane priority. There is going to be no response at the bot side, at least. There's Hope will be looking for a top lane gank if we can switch to that. Truman will pop the slicing maelstrom, still has the flash, and Hope actually needs to be very careful.
Yeah, Truman showing the power of the cannon, not something we've seen particularly often in the recent meta, but playing it to perfection. And because Hope has been spotted in the top lane, it's a free Drake down in the bottom side for Karma. That now means that Imperial Apes are up in the terms of Drakes, and they are not far behind when it comes to scaling. They can begin Drake stacking, and they could possibly go for a dive here. It would be very risky.
Astroman is level 6, he can look for that Supreme Spell of Talent, does find a stun onto Soxu, but Lantern takes him out to relative safety. That is going to be it, but Didal hooked by the dredge line, and that's Lucky with the kill.
It takes 4 members to get it, but that is a kill over to Imperial Apes once again. And now they're going to be able to pick themselves up a turret plate on top of that. Lucky going to be put in a very nice spot, already was with that triple longsword start. And this is just showing the way that the early game compositions, when drafted by Imperial Apes, are able to be played. They just need to be careful because DMU scale incredibly well, like they did last game, but possibly even better.
Well, that is true. I am somewhat worried here for DMU T1 because you already allowed Imperial Apes to have their way with one early game composition. Now, they are, well, the inches are stacking in their favor.
Yeah.
We said this is a series where minuscule leads decide the entire games, and in the game 5, yeah, the gold is even, right? But you have 2 plays on your side. It has to count for something.
It has got to. It counts for momentum, it counts for confidence, if anything. It's going to put them in a position where they feel like they can go for these plays. And on something like the Kiana, the confidence is almost everything. Overconfidence can get you caught out, but if you have the skill to back it up, going for those fights, feeling like you can get those picks, it will allow you to find those, you know, marginal plays that maybe somebody slightly less confident wouldn't have gone for, that will go in your favor. And we've said it. These games have been on a knife's edge. It is one tiny play, so perhaps the little bit of confidence that the early game has given, not a gold lead, but may allow you to push forwards and find that big play that does swing the game.
Both supports sticking around this mid lane, waiting for their opportunity. Samjay quite happy to just farm it up with having 1 kill and now 50 CS. I imagine the first evolution is not too far away on the Victor, so he's chilling.
Just sitting back, going to continue to scale. The Victor is very happy to not get involved in too many fights in the early game. Didal is sitting here to see if there's a pick onto Astronanon, perhaps, but also more to just sit back and keep Samjay safe, allow Didal also to go in and get a little bit of warding done. And this is the power of a Jinx. Jinx is not particularly good at sitting in her own on a lane. She doesn't thrive in a lane on her own, but she can stay down there and she doesn't have the worst time, and that allows the Thresh to be unlocked across the map to roam around and get vision and set up for other plays.
Yeah, now Didal is around in the bot lane as well, so Soxu can afford to push the wave in, and Lucky taking a lot of damage and punishment. Now, Hope splashes back up after that early game play, and so are all the summoners for the Imperial Apes bot lane actually, so this is going to be a tricky play to go for.
They are quite pushed back. We saw the gank work when they were so pushed back before. It required some very nice Lantern and Flay play out of Didal instead. The player's going to fizzle out. Hope is going to have to just base. It's a little bit of wasted time. At the same time, Karma is just sat there farming up, you know, the Krugs, and could possibly look for a gank onto Spirit, who's quite pushed forwards.
Is indeed, but does have both the Flash and the Unstoppable Onslaught, so don't know if there is an angle. Okay, I guess there is. Truman is going to go forward, does find a Slicing Maelstrom, positioning himself in the way of Spirit's disengage. The Phase Rush has been popped. There's the Flash away from the pillar, and Spirit popping the ultimate, trying to go Cyan Drift. Goes into the wall. I think he's still dead though, because here comes Astroman and gonna be looking for the dash. He just finishes him off.
If anything, it was being funneled into the person you want the kill to go to. Astronanon going to be able to pick this one up. Beautiful little play. It was on. It was never going to be an easy kill, but because they were able to funnel Spirit into having to go back the wrong way, actually towards the Imperial Apes jungle, it just meant that it was much easier for somebody to pick up the kill. Nicely done. Good use of the pillar out of Karma.
Absolutely, just a clean gang, right place, right time. And Imperial off to a 1k gold lead at 11 minutes, but we've seen games snowball from that in this series, so what do DMU need to do here?
They need to sit back and not continue conceding things. They have been pushing too far forwards. They are pushing forwards in lanes that they know are leaving them open to ganks. I mean, if you are Azan, you feel pretty safe, but you need to be careful still. If you are Soxu and Didal, if they push too far forwards, there is a gank angle for Karma, and they're just constantly putting themselves in the path of Astronanon. You scale better. So just sit back, just wait a little bit. Neither of these teams really know what waiting means. And again, another possible dive.
Bot lane, Didal is going to get engaged upon. There's the teleport coming in from Spirit. Didal, he tries to buy some more time with that shield. That is Spirit getting the kill return. Supports traded. Teleport forced out from the top laner of DMU, and the Dragon is going to be the prize for Imperial Apes.
Dragon is going to go over to Imperial. There's nothing that DMU can do about it, and so although it is a 1-for-1, the proactive play out of Imperial Apes has netted them a little bit of an advantage. And I said sit back. if you're DMU, and they did. They were under tower. There's not a lot you can do when you are all the way under tower. Soxu, though,
is probably just dead. Actually, does burn the flash on the exhaust, so okay, paying both the summoners, not the worst.
not the worst. Still, though, this is what I mean about not sitting back. Dido was sat back and got dove. That's not entirely their bad. They should have known that the dive was coming, but still, they didn't.
Alright, Astroman, just gotta keep going in. We keep on fighting. Supreme the Soul Sound coming in. Tidal gonna go gold. And then here comes the Chaos Storm. That's doing so much damage. And Hope that's into the back line. The resets are coming through for the Viego. 2 kills already. And DMU make it 3 with Dido killing Kenny.
That was stopwatch gaming. Dido was nearly taken out. If they did manage to take out Dido, it may well have been a turn fight instead. Everybody just stood there and watched the Golden Thresh. And as it did, you know, the Chaos Storm just on top of them, everybody's just stood there and they get shredded through. And as soon as one kill goes down, the Viego can just continue to reset and slaughter the opposition.
And off camera, Soxu just killed Astroman, and that is the 4th kill going the way of DMU, and they are now with this swing. And okay, well, it's game 5. There's everything to play for. I predict this game is going to go places right now.
I don't think this is going to be a clean one team going to sweep their way through. The early game already has not been back and forth, and this is everything that we want from a final. If we could get a base race to end this off, that would be beautiful.
I don't think I will collapse if they have that.
Your voice might be dead, but there's no more casting to come for a little while. This is the finals, and so why not blow it all on this big team fight? We're going to see a few big team fights. These teams like to fight around Baron with less than ideal Baron setup.
To be fair, games 3 and 4 have been clean Barons.
They've been better.
Okay, that is a massive hook connecting the one to Lucky. He's just dead. Soxu Gale forces forward, and he is set to pick up a double kill. A nice injection of gold to the Jinx. Hyper carry. He's 3-0-4. I'm worried if I'm Imperial.
So am I. When Soxu gets ahead and is on something that they can carry from, they are fantastic, managing to run themselves forward, especially on a Jinx who, once they get reset, can keep going forwards, which is everything that Soxu wants to do. Soxu hated playing that Senna. You could tell that the Senna was not jiving well with Soxu's playstyle. They were having to sit back and scale and farm, and Soxu wants blood.
And he's poised to get it. Now, Mythics, of course, have been completed to all the members of Imperial. It's important to say that, especially if we're going to get ourselves into a fight that is going to be even, right? Or, you know, if Samjay gets caught out in the mid lane, let's say, per chances. Okay, it's a 1-for-1. The Chaos Storm makes it work.
Yeah, the Chaos Storm is dealing so much damage, especially when, you know, Samjay's out of the fight, doesn't have to actually be involved in the fight to make it work. Dido going to throw out a little bit of a bait lantern, nobody there to get it, just making the members back off, think that somebody's coming through. Bit of a 5-head play. But in the end, 1-for-1, you can see the fact that there are proactive plays coming out of Imperial 8s, but they're not quite pulling them off cleanly.
No, and 2000 is the goal deficit that they find themselves in right now. They've got the Mythics, but if you don't translate it into fights and then objectives, then what really is it for?
Looking pretty, I guess. Maybe. There's not a lot more to do. They are now going to be able to peel back, though, and get themselves a Herald. This is a pretty late Herald, actually, for them to be getting.
No place to be taken with this one, but no mid lane tier 1 has been knocked down either, and that is huge when we look at setting up for the objectives. Cloud Soul, okay, maybe not the biggest one, but these teams are probably going to still throw hands.
You've got to try. At this point, every single little advantage is going to be important. Dream are going to manage to get away a pretty fast little rat right there. And as the Drake comes up in 1 minute's time, everybody's going to begin to set up their vision. There's a lot of vision for both teams down here. I'm counting 3 pink wards for Imperial and I think 2 for the side of DMU, so it is well lit up.
Absolutely, and mid-lane tensions, it is all about getting the priority, and with 2 hook supports, also finding picks if you can. Now, DMU are the ones with the position on the Dragon first.
They have got full priority, but it's going to be a trade. Imperial Apes are more than happy to concede it looks like, and just push down the middle lane. Actually, they managed to find themselves priority in the middle lane much before the Drake actually spawned. Still 20 seconds on that. How much can they get while all of the members of Imperial were set up around the Drake?
This could still be the second tower. The charge goes down. That will be 2 mid lane towers going the way of Imperial. Massive tempo play. They're going to walk in. sweep the vision out. And Soxu, Samchi, you guys gotta be careful here. And here comes the slicing of Maelstrom straight down onto Soxu. Soxu finds the exhaust, and that is a kill. He goes on a rampage, but still, 4 members of Imperial looking to cut off the MUT1. If the carries are dead, so is the Dragon, and Imperial will win the fight. But if Samji and Soxu can buy time, maybe, just maybe they can hold on. Here comes Astroman, and with the ultimate, he is going to decimate the carries of the MUT1, and Spirit joins the fight back in. Hope tries to dash in. Diego gets the first kill. Keep your eyes on that jungler, because Hope is here to play. He's looking for the kill. No, he is dead, with Karma taking him down in the MUT1 in full retreat. The Lantern to take Spirit out to safety, but Astroman is going in with the Prowler's Claw, gonna drop the chase because the Dragon is up.
It is absolute disaster for DMU. They're going to lose themselves 2 turrets in the mid lane, 3 members in the fight afterwards, and the Dragon. It's everything that DMU didn't want to happen right here. They've lost so very much. They now find themselves actually pretty close on gold, but it's a massive tempo swing over to the side of Imperial.
Yeah, that was also a shutdown that was sitting on Soxu. I'm not quite sure who got that, but that is going to swing the lead over into the Imperial. They are on Soul Point. It is Cloud Soul. I don't think it's massive, but we've got a Cannon, we've got a Kiana. They will both love it.
It will work fantastically for multiple of these picks. I mean, nobody doesn't want it. Again, it's going with 3 Drakes over to 1 team. It's usually at this point, though, that the other team begins to find their way back into the game. So, will Imperial be able to set up around the next Drake? They now have 4.5 minutes to set themselves up for it. They want to push out the top lane, see if they can't pick up this top lane out of turret. Then they want to keep priority in the mid lane, while then working on getting inner turrets in both the top and the bottom lane.
Now, interesting item pickup. Anathemas has been finished by Karma. It's certainly interesting. I wonder if that's going to go on Soxu or Samji, because clearly the intent is to just lock someone down with crowd control.
Yeah, somebody is dealing so much damage right now that they actually cannot deal with it. We'll be interested to see who this actually does end up going down onto. It will be indicative of where the majority of the damage is coming from. But because there is such a split damage profile, whoever you are going to be itemizing towards, the other is going to be able to deal so much too. And so it is a little bit risky. It's an interesting pickup. I can't necessarily disagree, especially because the later you go into the game, either Samjay or Soxu is going to be dealing massive amounts of damage. And if you can then knock them up, keep them stunned for forever, it could go on to Hope. Hope has been finding nearly resets. All they need to do is find the actual resets, and these fights could go massively in the DMU side favor.
Yeah, I don't know if you can find out. I'm just gonna be I'm just gonna keep looking at the bottom left side of the screen, see if the Anathemas thing pops up on anyone other than Karma. But until then, we can keep guessing. The game, it's so much slower. Yes, it's been fiesty. We're still at 1 kill a minute, so this has been a bloody game. But you can see there are those extended periods of time where either team just really wants to fight because they know one mistake will cost you all this effort. I mean, we've been here for 5 hours now?
Yeah.
4 hours? Yeah, something like that. Well, the players have been here for that time.
Yes. And at this point, they're going to be tired. They're going to be so very ready to finish. And they want to lift the trophy. They want to be the winners. Of course they do. It is very natural to want to come out on top in a competition. And so they're going to be throwing everything at it. But you said it earlier. I really liked your wording of it earlier. You said nobody wants to make the mistake. Not just a mistake. A mistake sucks. But nobody wants to make the mistake. And these games have been so close that somebody has inevitably made the mistake. The mistake that has cost the entire team the game. When things are this close, one misplay, one missed spell can roll disaster onto your team.
Well then, I don't know why they're on the Dragon. I thought it was Monix, and I'm gonna be honest. 2 items starting to be rolling through onto Astroman and onto Lucky. We have them on Soxu for a while now as well. So the damage starts ramping up. That Kiana will be looking for targets to assassinate, and there are plenty because Spirit is the only one really stacking that armor.
Really is. Everybody else is basically sitting back and just accepting the fact that they're going to be chunked down. And that's very dangerous. Astronanon is fantastic on this Kiana. The perfect execution has been beautiful during this series. We saw it in the last game. We're seeing it again in this game. Not as far ahead, though, so not dealing quite as much damage as they had been previously.
Yeah, I do suppose there is a bit less of an oomph behind this pick, but on the other side we have Lucky also on that Lucian becoming really strong with that Kraken Slayer, Essence Weaver, and also the pickaxe. It's just so much AD.
so very much going to be shredding through people, especially because they've gone with that full, you know, attack speed type build. It's more of the traditional AD carries. We've seen a lot more of lethality recently, but more of that traditional build where you're just trying to shred through somebody. Now, over time, more DPS than burst damage, and it's going to allow them to get through Spirit as well a lot easier.
Yep, 40 seconds now until the Dragon. It is Imperial with the priority over it. However, a lot of pings from DMU T1 towards this Baron. They will maybe look to throw out the rulebook, do something unexpected. Try and throw a curveball towards Imperial as Idol caught out. Will be able to flash away. The calling does come down. One ultimate less, actually 3 of them being committed here from Imperial, and Spirit on the front line. He still has access to that unstoppable onslaught. The engage is there. Should DMU T1 want it?
Everybody has thrown out a couple of spells and nothing too much more. This is now priority access for DMU onto this Drake, but they've got themselves a little bit caught out from all directions.
There's the hit connecting onto Spirit. It is a Scion with 2 items. Astroman on the side. Finds his way onto Soksu and half health immediately as flashes are going to be traded. Hope now without a way to get into the pit. Is this just going to be the Cloud Soul? We said no, the end of the war. Astroman looking for the flank. MC, this is steal by Hope, but the Stancing Mission with the backside. The Idol is almost there. DMU T1, their health bars are blinking and their members are flashing away. Astroman will take the double onto Soksu. It's only Samjay and Spirit, not even Spirit now. Just the Victor left alive, and yes, you stole the Dragon, but what did it cost you, DMU? Everything.
It's going to cost them 4 kills. It's going to cost them a Baron if they want it. And in the end, it is only Samjay left alive. Just lovely plays out of Astronaut. We said that the pick was working well in the last game, and by God is it working well in this game. This is a massive swing into the favor of Imperial Apes, all because DMU wanted to try contest.
Yeah, they got the Dragon. You can't take that away from them, but that is going to be the Baron buff. Samjay taking the bot lane tier 1 just to try and make it a bit more even. But actually, Truman might even be looking for him here. Never mind. Samjay is going to be left alone.
Samjay does a lot of damage. You do not want to step too far forwards. It might put you in a horrible spot. There's no point in wasting a Baron buff. Everybody wants to reset, spend their gold, and come back in. We're going to see a replay of this fight. See the steal, because the steal is nice, but then everything goes wrong.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're this separated, when Truman gets to just, well, forget, it was the Idol only, to be fair, but yeah. Soksu was already on below 50% and forced out of the fight, so he couldn't really change a damn thing. Now, Infinity Edge, picked up by Lucky. That, I think, is the biggest single item breakpoint we should mention.
It is an insane pickup right there. Lucky is going to be dealing so much damage, especially to the squishies, of which there are many.
Yeah.
People do not think Viego is too squishy because Viego heals a lot, but if Viego either isn't getting the healing off, will be very squishy, but also is going to pick themselves up any of the forms of champions that are squishy themselves, then will also go down very quickly. And so if Lucky is able to stay alive, which Illusion is pretty able to do, they will be in a very nice spot to be able to, you know, weave their way through this fight and possibly win it for his team.
Alright, rotation down from Imperial Apes. They're going to take the bot lane tower. They've got a bit of a wave. I don't know if they can yet lay siege to the base. There is a bit of a problem in terms of range. We haven't yet touched on that, but sieging for Imperial, well, there is no siege. There is only dive.
Yeah, you have got to go in. You do not have enough long-range carries to actually put on a siege in multiple lanes, which is a real issue. You can try. You can see that they are attempting it with Truman up in the top lane. Somebody has to go and respond.
He's going to get stunned up, the zap down as well. He's so low, and that is just shut down. Hope is now going to take over that 3-item illusion, and you can see Kenny's health bar melting. Spirit, Flash, unstoppable onslaught, and that is Kenny getting knocked out, but it's only the support, and the MUT1 are throwing down a lot of resources for not too much gain. Truman already took one turret up in the top lane. He's got a lot of TP wars if he wants to flank, but Imperial just taking the L, losing the 1 kill, and actually will be pushing for that turret. It has to be a teleport match from Spirit. Truman, I think he's still going to be able to take down this objective.
Ooh, that was nice. Very nice little dodge right there out of Truman. Going to be able to take the objective. That's a wasted teleport on Spirit. Now, if there's any big fights that Spirit hasn't originally gotten to, they're not going to be able to flank, which is huge for a Scion. Scion is a fantastic flanking champion, especially with the unstoppable onslaught. Able to just get massive knockups, really disrupt the backline. Now, during that fight in the bottom lane, we saw that Lucky is killable, but that was a bit of a catch. If Lucky is with the rest of the team, I don't think they go down that quickly.
Probably not. And also now picking up the Vamp Scepter. Not gonna really help you if you're caught out, but it is going to make you that one bit more tougher to kill when it comes to the extended fights. And we're waiting. We're waiting for the next neutral objective, which is going to be that dragon up in a minute.
Can Imperial get themselves the soul? They tried last time, it ended up being stolen away. They still managed to get a king's ransom for it, but they would like this soul for themselves. Multiple members benefiting quite well, as you said. The Lucian will like it, as will the Kiana, and the Kennen won't sniff at it either. If you are the side of DMU, you'll scale beautifully, and so you have got to keep trying to steal away these dragons. It wasn't great for them, but it was delaying it. It was giving themselves 5 extra minutes in order to stop the siege out of Imperial.
I wonder if they maybe... I mean, giving up the dragon isn't great, right? But if DMU T1 feel like they're not yet at the point, you can always give it up and try and, you know, go for the Elder.
See, you could. But this is DMU, and
That is
DMU
true.
do not like conceding things. They love going forwards. Maybe finally they will have learned. It is Game 5. Players are playing a little bit further back. You can tell that they're a bit nervous as it stands. Soxu, not so much, playing plenty far forwards with the safety of a Thresh Lantern behind him.
3 items now as well. Got that LDR, got the RFC, so a lot of the utility checklist items, I like to call them on Jinx. They just make sure you can't deal damage and stay safe.
It's Ping's mid. They've decided to concede it.
Sure, they give up the dragon for the tower. Now, that means you are about to get flanked by Imperial Apes who have got a Kiana and a Kennen running away. I don't know if the MUT1 will live to regret this decision, as Astromanon is looking to harass them on the side. Karma running forward, looking for the pillar, separating Spirit from the rest of the team, who is very tanky, eating up the entire calling like a good boy, but that is the hook connecting from Kenny. Look at Astromanon. He's waiting on the side, but Spirit, he can't take the Lantern. Now that is without the frontline. Truman is just free to go in, and here comes Astromanon. Something is cut out of position. He drops down the Chaos Storm. Can he survive? Double kill is found. Didal is dead, and Hope and Soxu, they're the only ones alive. Big shutdown, 750 gold for the Jinx, and Truman pops this, slicing Maelstrom, and Hope is dead, and so is Soxu, and so is DMU-T1. That is going to be the ace, and I think Imperial might have just done it.
I think they might have enough time. There are 15 seconds left before anybody spawns back in. Oh boy!
Imperial, it was not a pretty best of 5, but in the Game 5, they come out clutch, and they are your Newell Spring 2022 champions.
Imperial Apes are gonna do it. Finally, it took them 5 in what we expected to only go to 3. DMU finally taken down, and Imperial will lift the crown.
And what a series. And, I mean, feels bad for DMU-T1 because they have pushed Imperial to the end of their wit, you have to believe. But Game 4, Game 5, Imperial strike back. And, well, they're your champions.
Fantastic play out of them, just beautiful out of Imperial Apes. Game 1 they managed to pick up because DMU kind of inted it a little bit. Then DMU managed to pull themselves back in. But finally, Imperial managed to pick it up with early game composition, something we hadn't been seeing during the start of the game. Pulling it through, and I mean, who would you say is your MVP of the series?
Well, that's a question and a half. I don't know if I... Hold on, let me think of someone. I mean, Astromanon? That's a good one, I feel like, with the Kiana ults in Game 4 and 5. Probably one, and hello.
Hi, I just like sneakily popped back up on this, but what a game. You're absolutely right. Imperial, we kind of said their Drake control wasn't there, their early game wasn't there in the first 2 games that we've seen, and then they're like, oh, hold on guys, we're listening to the cast, and they just absolutely incredibly just blew us out of the water. They showed us what they're possible and what they're capable of. So MVP question, I know Bloxer just asked you about it. I'm gonna ask you the exact same one. If you had to name an MVP for the series, who would that be? For DMU.
For DMU, okay. Do you want to have a say in that? Or
I'll
give
give
that
a say. I
Let's
can
go.
have a say in this one. I would like to say that it was Dido. I think it was Dido,
Okay.
honestly. I think a lot of Didol's plays were really good. There were a lot of Nautilus, a lot of Thresh, a lot of those big hook champions, and they were all piloted beautifully. They were played really nicely. It was the little things that were going right for DMU that were started by Didol being able to find themselves those picks, especially when they went off roaming on the Thresh during the couple, like during the game 3 and during the game 5. I know it didn't always go their way, but it was nice, and it was enough that the team was able to play off the back of it. And I mean, the more obvious pick is Soksu, but Soksu also had some plays where they went a bit too far forwards, whereas I think Didol was always doing their best to rein the team in and help them to go forwards.
Yeah, and the Thresh pick coming in clutch a couple of times. Unfortunately, not enough to really secure DMU that title, but still, they had an incredible performance. So we also have the MVP coming through as well from the side of Imperial. They got Astromanon, did really well on that Kiana in the last couple of games. And I feel like once Imperial swapped it around and went for that early game, it really worked out in their favor. But let's start talking a bit more about the DMU side of things. So when DMU was focusing on the early game, even though they had the Kog'Maw, which wasn't really something you'd expect them to do, they were focusing on these Drakes, they got really comfortable and they were really able to push the games. But then Imperial kind of took a page out of their book and did the same thing. So what exactly went wrong for DMU specifically that just didn't allow them to get that final game that they needed?
I think it was, to a certain extent, a lack of adaptation, but to a certain extent, it felt like they were just outplayed by Imperial. It was what a lot of us were expecting going into the match. That's why we had Imperial as the heavy favorites, because if these teams play to their styles, Imperial should win most of the time. And this is what we saw in game 4 and 5. Imperial playing to their style, DMU playing to their own style. And, well, unfortunately, it is a bit of a stylistic overmatch, and when Imperial in the first 3 games were trying to do something different, that's when DMU T1 had the opportunity.
So talking about Imperial style here specifically, and kind of how we saw more of that in those last 2 games, Blockster, what would you say it would be, and what really allowed them to excel once they kind of got the grip of it?
I think it's a really interesting situation where the better team ended up winning because of adaptation. Imperial and DMU, as we were saying during the beginning stages of this series, had the same playstyle. They both wanted to play through strong junglers enabling their bot lane. Unfortunately, it turned out that Soksu was a better bot laner and was able to do much better for themselves when given all of the resources. And so Imperial had to adapt. They had to put more focus into Astromanon and its Truman, and it worked. They were able to change it around, and I think that's the impressive thing about this team. Going forwards, if they do manage to get any further, get into any more tournaments, and we can continue to follow to them, they are fantastic. We can see what they are able to do in these replays as well.
Yeah, these teams just going head to head and really trying to force each other's hands. Some beautiful ganks coming through. We had a lot of really good early plays. In general, a lot of team fights as well that we saw both of these teams take. And sometimes, you know, you would go on a trip as a Cyan and you'd kind of bang into a wall. It happens to the best of us. But all in all, you're absolutely correct. Both of these teams played really well. They had a couple of, you know, mistakes, a couple of overextensions coming through. And these clips do highlight some of those plays.
Indeed.
I think early on, honestly, we're looking at this fight, especially here. This is where DMU T1 started to pick up the pace. They had a lot of gold right now, and honestly, for the next good part of the game, they were the ones winning most of these fights. Well, I guess here is a good exception to that. That is where they actually got run down, but I hope we're gonna get to see that Dragon steal into the lost fight, because I really think that is what BlackBoxer kind of highlighted, the mistake.
Yeah, that was the mistake of the game. They were too interested in stopping the Soul. The Soul would have been fantastic for Imperial, there's no doubting it, but DMU were too keen to get involved in a scrap that they really shouldn't have done. Yep. And my god, if that isn't a theme of the entire series, getting involved in fights that they had no business trying.
Yeah, we've seen both of those teams do it. We saw it in the first game, we saw it in the second game, we've seen it in the last game, and it feels like that's one of those teams that continuously will keep reoccurring, and maybe something that these teams need to focus on. Also want to throw it to DMU's comps specifically. So they had the Victor, the Jinx, the Viego, and the Scion. So these picks we haven't really, well, specifically the Viego and the Jinx, we haven't really seen them being picked up by DMU at all this series. So we had this final game here. And how do you think these two picks specifically, as the AD carry and the jungler, impacted that final game?
I think they definitely gave DMU-T1 the kind of tempo they needed to get back, because Viego, Jinx, they are the two picks. They are very well acquainted with both Hope and Soxu, play them a lot, and it almost worked. Soxu almost carried this game, and Hope almost had the reset. Unfortunately, you hear me using this word a lot. Almost. It's almost never enough.
Yeah. So very close, and that really was this entire series. It was on a knife's edge the whole way through. Everything was so very close, and as you said, the mistake. There was just the mistake in each game. Honestly, most games that you see, it's a lot of mistake. It's compound mistakes. People are mucking up, and then everybody continues to go through, overfeeding into a lane, and then that lane continues to snowball, as you see. Whereas in this, it was so close back and forth the whole way through until it was a team-wide mistake decision where people went for a fight that they really shouldn't have.
And when you're in that scenario, you're under a lot of pressure. You know that it's the final game of the series and you want to take away that championship. How do you think players can really make sure that these are some of those mistakes that they avoid and don't actually continuously keep making? Because you're absolutely correct. These mistakes were made multiple times over the series, like once a game.
I mean, it's tough to answer because you don't get to practice for this.
Yeah.
You don't really practice a best-of-5 final scenario, especially, you know, the Game 5, so it just kind of comes down to how these teams like to play. I mean, we knew DMU T1 is as a team, right? They finished 7th in regular season for a reason. They made it all the way back. That's great for them. But they were still that team with maybe a bit of inconsistency. And to be honest, same to Imperial Apes. There was a reason this went to 5 games. Both teams have made those mistakes, and one of them did pull out on top. I don't want to put it all on mistakes. It was good play from Imperial Apes, especially games 4 and 5. It was just playing to their comp. I don't want to point it all on DMU throwing, but, you know, it did happen.
It did help. You can't ignore the mistakes, but yeah, highlighting entirely on top of mistakes, is it disingenuous to how well Imperial Apes played? They had a fantastic bracket getting here, going, you know, didn't drop a single game during the playoffs, 5-0 into this series. They had already 2-0 DMU. We were expecting it to be a very clean series. In the end, they really had to sweat for it, but the team were expected to come out on top did finally claw their way through. Onwards and upwards for this team who, you know, feel like they are finally truly unlocked. We asked these teams about themselves before we started the split, and they said that they felt like they were finally unlocked. They had COVID issues last year that meant that players were playing on way higher ping than they really had ever done before. It was basically unplayable for them, and so last year was kind of a write-off. This year, they said they're finally back at full strength. It started slowly during the regular season, and it's ramped up all the way to a title.
Yeah, and it absolutely worked out for them perfectly. They even got the title. They got that fully paid expense trip to the LEC studio, which I think is quite exciting. Say hello to our friends over there, casters, Hurst, anyone you meet, tell them the stories of this incredible Newell studio. And I think you highlighted that you don't really practice for those best of 5s, right? It's not something you get to experience. It's not like a scenario that you get to stress test. But I think once, you know, you have these games and you've been through these scenarios, specifically for DMU, because I feel like so far they have really, last couple of years, they've kind of just, you know, been able to get those very clean, quick games coming through. But you're at Newell, and these teams, like as you mentioned yourself, you know, Blockstar last year some COVID issues, but this year they're absolutely unlocked. They want to go for it. Every single team is hungry, and having this grassroots available for these players to actually play, you get that experience, get those stress tests, learn how to manage, and just, you know, get that experience specifically, I think is absolutely incredible. For us as well here on the desk, getting the experience to actually be on like a physical desk together, like
it's here.
All three of us,
yeah,
like it's here. Like
I don't know if you,
slightly,
but it's right here.
We got Noah's with us as well. We got some incredible, you know, lights. We got production, the production goblins. I know accidentally someone switched on the lights earlier and they got really upset, but this time, you know, we can see them. You guys are absolutely killing it every single day of the week so far. And we still have another broadcast coming tomorrow. But again, thank you so much to Newell for actually providing us with these opportunities, and Intel as well as Amazon students for making this possible, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. And otherwise, we wouldn't be having the interview that's going to be coming through right now with one of the players from Imperial. So first of all, congratulations on the win. You guys did really, really well. You had to sweat it for these games. But my first question to you is going to be, what went wrong in those first couple of games that you guys dropped?
Jungle duo, so that's something that we did in games 4 and 5, where we just said we're going to win through mid and jungle, and I think that's what kind of turned it around for us in games 4 and 5.
Sorry, could you repeat that for us? You were a little bit muted.
Wait, am I still muted? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go.
I think we're good.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, I think our bot lane was a bit nervous. I mean, they were taking 2v2s that they didn't have to some of the time, and then I think that was putting us behind as a team, and we couldn't contest like the early dragons. And especially on like games 4 and 5, we just said that we're going to win straight through mid and jungle, so we put a lot more priority in the draft on the mid jungle duo and just kind of smashing them down the mid lane and then transferring that to the rest of the map.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on your win. How does it feel to have come through this entire split? Because the beginning of the split was not ideal for your team. You did not have a clean run through the group stages, and then it got much better once you got into the playoffs. So what really changed for your team, and how has this whole season felt as a whole?
I think, yeah, it's kind of tough to say what changed. I kind of feel like one of our strengths is just like not having mental explosions halfway through the split. I feel like a lot of the teams that were kind of, finishing number 1 in the leagues and so on, they kind of just fell at different points. So to be honest, I think we were just pretty stable for the whole time. We just put in a few scrims each week and kept on practicing, and then I think that was just on average a little bit better than everyone else.
Yeah. My question really is, it's after game 3. You guys are 1 and 2 down against DMU21. What was it like in the team camp? How did you guys manage to pull through in the end?
I mean, I think we were fine. At that point, we just said, enough of not giving mid priority, and we just I can't remember what we picked, but it was Kiana and I think Elise, right?
Yeah.
And so we were just like, okay, whatever. Even if we're just gonna lose, I'm just gonna smash mid lane. The jungle is just gonna invade the jungle 24/7, and if that's not good enough, then it's whatever. We gave it a try, but obviously it worked out.
Yeah, well, before we close out this interview, I kind of want to ask you the question if you have any shout-outs, maybe to the person in the back, maybe to your family, maybe to your friends, to your teammates, anyone you want to give a shout-out to, maybe even to yourself.
Yeah, my Kiana was pretty good. That was fair. But I have very supportive friends and family, so that's always nice. I mean, everyone in the Imperial Discord has been really supportive. This is my first year at Imperial, so it's nice to come straight in and get wins. But I know there's a watch party going on at Imperial, so shout out to everyone there. Thanks for all the support. I think they were cheering, through all the games when we were 2-1 down. That was really nice. And then obviously everyone on the team, just as I said, really nice. No mental explosions for the whole season. Just sticking together, even when we're not winning all the time. But obviously we win in the end.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time for the interview, and congratulations once again on that win. Enjoy your fully paid trip to the LEC studio. I really hope you guys make the most out of it, and I really hope you guys are looking forward to that. And have an incredible evening. You guys really deserve it.
Thank you so much.
Well, that is another game wrapped here at Newell, and now we only have Valorant left. But before we close off the broadcast, I know I asked this question to the player, but I would love to ask the exact same questions to the casters, the incredible summoners we have here on the desk today. Probably the most wholesome I have seen, and you guys are so adorable. So I'm going to start off with you, Black Blockster. Do you have any final shout-outs?
Just thank you to everybody who's watched, and I think the biggest thank you has got to go to production in the background. Things have been marginally hectic today, and honestly marginally hectic throughout the entire series. We always see massive amounts of hecticness going on in the background, less for us casters and basically none for the viewers, and the fact that it gets out to you guys so cleanly is fantastic. So thank you so very much to you guys. You're all the best, and it's been the best time working with you.
Well, Kachka, can you top that one up?
Well, I mean, I again want to shout out honestly everyone who made this possible again. I have to do this again because you guys did not see what was happening here, and they are the real MVPs on this show. They are the reason why you are seeing this right now, and yeah, why we got to witness most of this glorious best of 5.
It was absolute hell for us to get this out, and we are sat. We're sat with our crisps in the corner, munching away as, on Air Talent do, having a nice time as people are running around us. So everybody, thank you. And also, thank you so much, Jeannie.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you for being here on the desk. It was an incredible best of 5 series where it went all the way. But that's it for us from us for tonight. We're going to be back tomorrow with some Valorant. So if that is your jam, make sure to tune in.